Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Fantasy, Return of Apprenticeship, Capture the Demon Race Empress at the beginning. Chapter 1. The jungles in Mount False are densely covered with ferocious beasts and dangers are everywhere. Whether it is human race or demon race, Mount False is regarded as a dangerous place. In the Temple of Heavenly Tao, a young man with sharp eyebrows and starry eyes was sitting slumped on the main seat with a sad face. System, is there really no room for negotiation on moving? It's such a useless place. Even if it takes another 10 or 100 years, I'm afraid I won't be able to accept a disciple, right? Chen Daoshuan rubbed his temples and questioned the system with a headache. He was not born in this world. After transmigrating to this world, he also obtained the Goldfinger system. Hongmeng Destiny Saint Master system. As long as he accepts disciples, he can become stronger, but the palace of heaven given to him by the system is located in the wilderness. Normally, he can't even see a beast, let alone a human. In this hall, he is invincible, almost omnipotent, and he will not die of hunger. The range of this invincibility effect is currently 5,000 meters in radius of the main hall. If that doesn't work, you can just send me a disciple. Seeing that the system had not responded for a long time, Chen Daoshuan could only grit his teeth helplessly. Although within the scope of this hall, he is an almost omnipotent supreme being, once he steps out of the scope, he is just a mortal. He has been in this world for more than 3 months, but he has not seen any living beings, not even a single beast. Now he can only see an initial task on the system panel. Initial mission. Recruit a disciple. Accept a disciple with qualifications above the holy level, and you will receive an initial gift package. Forget it, you won't starve to death or grow old here anyway, just wait. Realm, body refining, chi condensation, chi si, control of the sky, universal truth, return to ruins, nirvana, infinite, spirit partitioning, void refining, fusion. ... Are you really not afraid of the revenge of my Lang family? A woman with a hot figure and beautiful appearance was frowning, and she was constantly avoiding the pursuit of 3 Universal Truth Realm monks in the mountains and forests. With her strength in the Sky Control Realm, it is not easy to escape from the Universal Truth Realm. She thought that hiding in this false mountain, the 3 of them would retreat in spite of the difficulties, but unexpectedly, the 3 of them had no intention of retreating. Even her Lang Yanran, who has the holy level of talent and is said to be the most talented genius in the Moro Kingdom for thousands of years, is still being hunted down by 3 Universal Truth Realms in a very embarrassed manner. Haha, the daughter of the Lang family is worthy of being a saint. She has been able to survive in the hands of the 3 of me for so long. It's a pity that you are still too young after all. If I give you 5 years, the 3 of us may not be able to defeat you. Even, it may not be certain that he will fall into your hands. One of the killers, an old man-looking man, said jokingly while stroking his beard with a smile. Hee, such a genius would die in the hands of me, Liao Laosan, today. I can't help but tremble with excitement just thinking about it. A middle-aged fat man looked even more excited. He kept making spells and spells in his hands, trying to prevent Lang Yanran from escaping. Second brother, please let me enjoy my life later. It's not too late to kill him. Wouldn't it be a pity to kill such a beauty directly? The last person even licked his lips, his eyes filled with heat when he looked at Lang Yanran. You must know that Lang Yanran is not only the #1 genius in the Moro Kingdom, but her appearance is also unmatched and can be called the #1 beauty. She was sought after by countless monks and geniuses, but no one could catch her eye. As for Lang Yanran's threat to the 3 of them, the 3 of them didn't take it seriously at all. If they weren't completely sure, how could the 3 of them dare to attack the genius of the Lang family? It's been so long, why haven't the family sent help yet? When Lang Yanran heard what the 3 said, she was even more ashamed and angry. At the same time, she was also a little worried. The 3 dared to pursue her like this. The Lang family had not sent reinforcements for so long, so they must have encountered trouble. At this moment, he no longer argued with the 3 people about his speed, and fled deeper into the Void Mountain with all his strength. This mountain of falsehood is a very dangerous place. Not to mention the Universal Truth Realm that is chasing her deep inside, even the strong ones in the Infinite Realm dare not set foot easily. Now she can only give it a try. After a long time, Lang Yanran took the last remaining chi replenishing pill and couldn't help but reveal a bitter look on her face. I didn't expect that she, the most talented person in the Moro Kingdom, with holy qualifications, would die here today. When she thought about the dirty words said by the three people just now, Lang Yanran had already made up her mind. After the spiritual energy is exhausted this time, if there is no possibility of escape, then you can only commit suicide. Hehe, why don't you run away? Let us, Liao Laosan, have a good time, and then I'll let you go, how about that? When the pursuer saw Lang Yanran stop, he couldn't help but lick his lips and said with a lewd smile. But Lang Yanran stopped talking at this time, just looked at the three of them coldly, her silver teeth clenched. After confirming that there was no possibility of escape, Dangju raised his white palms, gathered his spiritual energy, and planned to crush his heart with one palm. There was no hesitation in his movements. The three people chasing him could not help but secretly marvel at Lang Yanran's determination. Only the third child sighed regretfully. Fortunately, this mission has been completed. When I get back and get the reward, I will be able to find a place to have a good time. Sudden, everyone could not help but widen their eyes. The expected scene of Lang Yanran's death did not appear. Instead, a young man in strange clothes appeared, stood in front of Lang Yanran, and held her jade hand. Well, boy, what's your background? The leading old man couldn't help but frown and question. Just now, he didn't see how the young man appeared at all, but looking at his aura, he looked like a mortal. I am Lang Yanran from the Moro Kingdom. As long as the young master is willing to help, my Lang family will definitely give you a big gift. Lang Yanran's eyes also lit up, as if she had grasped a life-saving straw again, even though she couldn't help but ask for help from the young man who suddenly appeared. But the young man didn't seem to hear what everyone said. Seeing that Lang Yanran no longer wanted to die, he let go of her little hand. Then he just looked around Lang Yanran. While looking at it, he nodded excitedly and praised it. Tisk, after waiting for so long, it's finally here. I can't say anything today to make you run away. Besides, this looks a bit like a succubus. The person who came was naturally Chen Daoshuan. Just when he was going to sleep and mess around, he received a reminder from the system that there was a saint-level genius in the area who met the requirements for accepting. After receiving the system prompt, Chen Daoshuan appeared here without thinking about anything else. And Chen Daoshuan, who had just arrived, saw Lang Yanran planning to die. But he was so frightened that he quickly stopped him. It took a lot of effort to find a saint-level genius who meets the requirements and can be accepted as a disciple. If she is allowed to receive a lunch box, I don't know when the next time will be. As for the weird atmosphere on the court now, Chen Daoshuan didn't care at all. As long as he is within the scope of this temple, he is in existence like the law of heaven, and there is nothing to worry about. After sizing up Lang Yan for a moment, Chen Daoshuan's eyes became brighter and brighter. This apprentice is not only very qualified, but also very pleasing to the eye. And it doesn't look like a human race, more like a succubus. This young master, and those three are masters of the universal truth realm. If the young master is defeated, please let me go and run for your life. Lang Yanran did not expect that a young man would suddenly appear to stop her from committing suicide. I don't know whether it was because she saw the young man's good looks, or because she knew she was about to die and didn't want anyone else to get involved. Lang Yanran unexpectedly came up with the idea of letting the young man run away. Boy, if you are wise, just hide away. I will give you another pleasure later when I'm done. If not, let me try what it means to put a man on top of a man. Life would be worse than death. The third among the killers glanced at Chen Daoshuan and found that he did not have a strong aura on his body. In addition, he looked like just a young man, so he immediately lowered his guard. Girl, are you willing to become your teacher? But Chen Daoshuan never glanced at the three killers from beginning to end. At this time, everyone was within the scope of his temple. Even if the three wanted to escape, it would still depend on whether he was willing. The most important thing at this time is to complete the system tasks first and then accept this apprentice. As for those three people, what do they count? This. If you can suppress those three people, I, Lang Yanran, would like to become your teacher. Lang Yanran looked at the young man in front of her up and down again, but she only felt that he was just an ordinary person. Apart from his good looks, he didn't even have a trace of aura. But when she thought about the young man who suddenly appeared just now and blocked her full palm, he must have some trump cards. Could he be a master who had hidden his cultivation? And facing the 3 universal truth realms behind him, he didn't pay any attention to them. The many signs made Leng Yanren feel a glimmer of hope. If the young man in front of me is really a master of concealment, what's the point of worshipping him as his teacher? Survival is the most important thing. Okay, deal. When Chen Daoxuan heard this, he immediately smiled and nodded. You pretentious boy, since I gave you the chance and you failed, then you should die first. Liao Laosin sneered, raised his hand and gathered his spiritual energy, intending to beat the young man into pieces. But as soon as I saw the flowers, I found that the young man was missing. Well, before he could react, he felt like he couldn't breathe, and the young man had already pinched his neck in his hands. Relax, you will always be a little nervous for the first time. Take a deep breath. Yes, take a deep breath. It is normal to feel a little dizzy the first time. Chen Daoxuan's voice rang in Liao Laosin's ears. He wanted to break free but found that he couldn't use any strength at all. Even his spiritual power seemed to be imprisoned. In the shocked eyes of everyone, Liao Laosin's struggle became weaker and weaker, and finally his head came down. Chen Daoxuan then gave up, took a deep breath, and threw it to the ground. It's my first time to kill someone, so I'm still a little nervous. Chen Daoxuan couldn't help but secretly sigh. This was his first time killing someone after transmigration. Although he knew this was a cruel immortal cultivation world, he still felt a little uncomfortable. As for those words just now, they were not said to Liao Laosin, but to himself. But this scene, in the eyes of everyone, looked like a devil. Brother, let's take action together, this kid is weird. The remaining 2 people recovered from the shock. Just now, they didn't even see how Chen Daoxuan acted, and they had already strangled Lao San to death, and said such terrible words, which made Lao San take a deep breath. Is it normal to feel dizzy once? Terrible. Not daring to be careless, the 2 of them used their special skills and struck Chen Daoxuan with all their strength. Bliss Claw. Ruyi Demon Boom. Boom. The 2 struck down, but Chen Daoxuan did not dodge at all, and was suddenly hit by 2 Universal Truth Realm Masters with all their strength. Bingo. Haha, brother, this kid seems to be nothing more than that. I'm afraid he was turned into ashes after being hit by both of us with all our strength. Seeing the dust rising, both of them were extremely satisfied with the power of that blow. Even if Universal Truth Realm Perfection dared to resist the blow with his body, he would definitely die. Thinking of this, the 2 of them felt relieved. Hateful. Leng Yanren couldn't help but clenched her fists when she saw this, feeling a little uncomfortable in her heart. This handsome young man could have run away, but he was here because of his hatred. But at this moment, a cough sounded, and everyone's eyes widened in shock. Ahem, cough, cough, what's your move? Are you planning to raise dust and choke me to death? Chen Daoxuan's figure walked out of the dust and looked at the 2 of them with disgust. This. Impossible, this kid must have used some kind of defensive magic weapon. Brother, kill him and we will take his magic weapon. The killer recovered from the shock and immediately took action again. Forget it, boring. Chen Daoxuan did not give the 2 of them another chance this time, and waved his hand towards them, as if to shoo away flies. Just when the 2 were about to laugh, there were 2 sounds of bang and bang. The 2 masters of the Universal Truth Realm exploded together and turned into 2 masses of blood mist. So feasible. Chen Daoxuan turned around, tried his best to appear kind, and asked with a smile to Leng Yanren, who had a dull look on his face. This. Disciple Leng Yanren, pay homage to Master. Leng Yanren came back to her senses, her heart filled with shock. The 3 killers who chased her until she had no way to escape were actually solved so easily. What kind of divine ability was the method that just waved 2 Universal Truth Realms into a bloody mist? I'm afraid that the young man in front of me is at least a Guishu, or even an even more terrifying Nirvana Realm powerhouse. Without any hesitation, Leng Yanren bowed her head and bowed respectfully to Chen Daoxuan, bowing 3 times and kowtowing 9 times, as a disciple. You know, even in the Moro Kingdom, the strongest masters have only returned to the Ruins Realm, and there are no strong men in the Nirvana Realm. Very good, I, Chen Daoxuan, will accept you as my disciple today. You are the eldest disciple of my Chen Daoxuan sect. Chen Daoxuan nodded with satisfaction, smiled slightly, raised his hand slightly in the air, and helped Lang Yanran up. At the same time, the voice he was most looking forward to finally sounded in his mind. Ding! The initial mission is completed, and rewards are distributed. Initial Gift Pack X1, Apprenticeship Gift Pack X1. Hearing the sound of system tasks being completed and rewards being distributed, Chen Daoxuan couldn't help but feel a little excited. The initial Gift Pack X1 and the Apprentice Gift Pack X1 have been placed in the system space. The system unlocks some new permissions. Chen Daoxuan did not hesitate, and immediately said silently in his heart, "Open the gift bag." Ding! Open the initial gift package. Rewards obtained. Hongmeng Ruler, the Treasure of Merit, Innate Spiritual Root Enlightenment Tea Tree, 1000 system points. Ding! Open the Apprenticeship gift bag. Rewards obtained. A bottle of marrow cleansing pill, mythical level, Chaos Heavenly Demon Ju, Hongmeng, and 1000 system points. The reward has been included in the system space. As a series of system prompts sounded, Chen Daoxuan felt a little drifting off. Just looking at those suffixes, they are all divine beings, as well as the legendary Treasure of Merit and Virtue, and the Innate Spiritual Root Enlightenment Tea Tree. I am afraid that these existences alone are enough to become the strongest existence in this world. Already. With a backhand move, the Hongmeng Ruler, the most precious treasure of merit and virtue, appeared in his hand. The body of the ruler was dark and yellow in color, with the word, Hongmeng, engraved on it. Chen Daoxuan took it in his hand and waved it casually twice, and suddenly 2 rays of dark and yellow energy roared out. Boom! A large mountain dozens of miles away was directly destroyed by the black and yellow energy. It's too scary. What kind of realm is master? Just by doing something casually, you can make a mountain collapse dozens of miles away. This kind of method has never been seen before. I'm afraid even the great masters of the Nirvana realm can't do it, right? Lang Yanran, who was standing respectfully by the side, couldn't help but sweat appeared on her forehead when she saw this scene. But I was a little excited. I didn't expect that today would be a blessing in disguise, and I would be able to worship such a powerful master. In this case, it is time to thank those 3 killers. It's not bad, it's easy to use. Pity. After Chen Daoxuan nodded slightly, he shook his head and sighed, secretly thinking that it was such a treasure, but it was a pity that it would be difficult to use it outside the scope of the temple. With those 2 casual swipes just now, Chen Daoxuan could detect that the power of the Xuanwang Qi was instantly weakened by more than 1 billion times after crossing the boundary of the temple, and as the distance got further, the power also decayed rapidly. If not, how could it be possible? Only smashed a mountain. It seems that even if he is within the invincible range of this side and can launch long-range attacks, his attacks will be greatly reduced. If not, Chen Daoxuan plans to never leave the temple area in the future. If there is an enemy, he can just kill him with a foot in the air. But when these words fell into the ears of Lang Yanran, she was even more shocked. With such terrifying power, Master is still not satisfied. That ruler was of a grade she had never seen before. It would be an exaggeration to say it was an immortal weapon. What kind of terrifying master did he become? Moreover, the master looks young. He must have used elixirs or special techniques to retain his youthful appearance. With such strength, even an old god who has lived for thousands of years would not be surprised. It seems that the Chaos Heavenly Demon technique is not for me to practice, right? This is the marrow cleansing pill, try taking one. After Chen Daoxuan tested the Hongmeng ruler, he casually put it back into the system space and took out the bottle of mythical marrow cleansing pill rewarded by the system. What level of magic weapon is this jade bottle? After Lang Yanran saw the jade bottle of marrow cleansing pill, her eyes widened suddenly. Feeling the faint aura emanating from it, she thought the master was going to test another magic weapon like immortal weapon. But as Chen Daoxuan opened the bottle cap, a strong fragrance of elixir poured out, and just by taking a breath, Lang Yanran felt that she had faint signs of a breakthrough. A magic weapon that is so comparable to the immortal weapon is just a bottle containing elixirs. How must the elixir in it exist? In a short period of time, Lang Yanran didn't know how many times she had been shocked. In his dull eyes, he saw Chen Daoxuan pouring an elixir from the bottle and throwing it into his mouth as if eating a jelly bean. Crack, bang, it's delicious, but it doesn't seem to have any effect. After taking the marrow cleansing pill, Chen Daoshuan waited for a moment and looked around himself, but found that it had no effect, just like eating a jelly bean. Because of the effect of the Temple of Heaven, he is invincible and almost omnipotent within the range, and his body has already reached the level of Hongmeng innate Dao body. How can the marrow cleansing pill be effective? Well, this elixir is given to you as a greeting gift. It should be of some help to you. Immediately, he threw it away casually and threw the jade bottle towards Leng Yanren, who was a little dazed due to shock. Ah, this disciple is ashamed to accept such a treasure. Leng Yanren was startled, and quickly caught the jade bottle in the air, held it carefully in her hands, and vowed to return it. It doesn't matter, it's just a bottle of marrow cleansing pill. Now that I have become my disciple, just take it. Chen Daoshuan chuckled lightly, and without waiting for Leng Yanren to speak again, he took out another book of exercises that was completely black and exuded the aura of chaos. This chaos heavenly demon art is very suitable for you. You should practice this method in the future. As he spoke, he threw it to Leng Yanren, who was holding the jade bottle of marrow cleansing pill in both hands, like throwing garbage. Leng Yanren hurriedly accepted the technique, intending to refuse. After all, she had just become a disciple and received so many favors. She really felt that she deserved it. But the moment she touched the technique, Leng Yanren was stunned. She can no longer take her eyes away from the technique, as if this technique was tailor-made for her. If she misses this opportunity, it will be a regret that she can never make up for in her life. Disciple thanks Master. Leng Yanren hesitated for a while, then took over the technique. After thanking him, she couldn't help but cross her legs and read it up. Seeing this, Chen Daoshuan didn't pay attention, but checked Leng Yanren's information in the system. First disciple, Leng Yanren. Race, demon race. Special physique, innate. The exercises practiced. Moro sacred scripture, low grade. Talent, holy level. Realm, 4th layer of the sky control realm. Chen Daoshuan looked at the information and secretly clicked his tongue. Demon race, innate, she is indeed a succubus, no wonder her figure and appearance are so impeccable, and because of her presence, she will be extremely attractive to the opposite gender. Ahem, of course, when accepting a disciple, the most important thing is to look at talent, body shape, etc. It doesn't matter at all, it's still very important. Just when Chen Daoshuan lowered his head and stared at him, Leng Yanren also took a long breath and raised his head. The two looked at each other, and the atmosphere was a bit strange for a moment. Master, you. Feeling the master's focused gaze, Leng Yanren quickly turned away shyly, not daring to continue to look at the master. A touch of bright red went all the way up her white neck to her cheeks, making her look even more delicate and charming. Since she was a child, she has discovered that all people of the opposite gender, regardless of race, have an inexplicable impulse towards her. I didn't expect that master would be affected like this today. Could the master be like those people, and because he was attracted by her special attraction, he deliberately accepted her as his disciple so that he could stay by his side? Otherwise, why would he have just accepted her as his disciple and given her the immortal pill that she had never seen before, as well as this technique that shocked her even after just a few glances? Thinking of this, Leng Yanren couldn't help but feel a little entangled. Even if the master had such thoughts in his mind, it was true that he had saved her just now. Should she refuse, or choose to submit? The more she thought about it, the redder Leng Yanren's face became. Just when Leng Yanren was thinking a lot, Chen Daoshuan spoke. Ahem, don't misunderstand me. I'm just a little surprised by your physique. Seeing Leng Yanren's posture, Chen Daoshuan couldn't help but be slightly stunned, but he came to his senses in an instant, coughed twice to relieve the embarrassment, and explained. Ah, disciple's physique. Leng Yanren was a little confused, but when she heard the master's words, for some reason, she felt strangely a little disappointed. This is the first time that someone of the opposite gender can completely ignore her charm. Even the so-called geniuses and even the disciples from the Holy Land will be affected when they see her. Yes, you are born with an innate charm, which is an extremely rare physique. Even if you don't practice the way of charm, you will still be accompanied by charm, and as your realm improves in the future, the effect will become more and more obvious. However, with such a physique, if there is not a strong enough backer behind him, he will almost eventually become the crucible of a powerful person. After Chen Daoshuan pondered for a moment, he slowly revealed the special characteristics of his physique, and naturally this information was obtained through the system. And what he said was a bit euphemistic. In fact, even if you have a strong family, after cultivating the innate charm to a certain level, it is very likely that the ancestors in the family will not be able to stand the temptation of the charm. Unless you have someone extremely worthy of your reliance, like your parents, can you hope to reach the highest level of cultivation. That's what it is. Thank you, Master, for clarifying my doubts. When Lang Yanran heard this, she secretly smacked her lips and finally understood the doubts she had been having since she was a child. Because of the existence of this charming character, she often gets into trouble. Fortunately, she is not a stupid person. Every time, she can divert trouble among many talented people and make them compete with each other to escape. I wonder if Master has a way to suppress this innate charm, lest the disciples bring a lot of trouble to the Master in the future. Lang Yanran bit her red lips and asked softly, "Ahem, it doesn't matter. This chaos heavenly demon technique contains the way of the succubus. With this charming body, you will practice faster. Just practice with peace of mind. As for trouble, there is no trouble in this world that my teacher cannot solve." Chen Daoxuan said with a chuckle, and in the end he raised his head and looked into the distance very confidently. The tyranny in his words made Lang Yanran lose consciousness. Of course, Chen Daoxuan also added in his mind, the premise is that it must be within the invincible range of this temple. Master, in that case, can my disciple start practicing this chaos heavenly demon technique now? After coming back to her senses, Lang Yanran's eyes gradually cleared up. When she thought that the Lang family might have encountered trouble at this time, she couldn't help but become anxious. Although he could ask his master for help, Lang Yanran felt that his master had already given him so many favors, and if he asked for it again, it would be a bit disrespectful. Of course you can. The technique has been given to you. You can practice it at any time. By the way, taking the marrow cleansing pill and practicing again should be of great benefit to you. Chen Daoxuan nodded slightly and said, "Yes, Master." After receiving her master's permission, Lang Yanran immediately stopped hesitating and gently opened the stopper of the jade bottle. Fearing that the fragrance of the medicine inside would escape, she poured out a pill and quickly covered it again. Then he carefully put the jade bottle into his arms as if it were a treasure, looked at the master again, and saw that the master had no other instructions, then opened his red lips slightly and swallowed the marrow cleansing pill into his mouth. As soon as the marrow cleansing pill was taken into her mouth, it turned into juice and flowed into her belly. Lang Yanran had no time to think about how the master had chewed this thing like a jelly bean, and she felt the spiritual energy in the sea of air. It started to expand rapidly, like an overturned river. Not daring to delay at all, Lang Yanran quickly began to practice the chaos heavenly demon technique in her hand with her eyes closed. She had just written down the first part of the chaos heavenly demon technique, and with her master by her side, she believed that nothing would go wrong. As her cultivation continued to progress, Lang Yanran's skin pores began to discharge a lot of dirty impurities. In less than a stick of incense, the realm directly broke through and reached the 5th layer of the sky control realm. As time goes by, more and more impurities are discharged from his body, and his realms are continuously broken through without any bottleneck. Buzz. Sky control realm 6th layer heaven. Royal sky realm 7th layer heaven. Royal sky realm 8th layer heaven. 9th layer heaven. Break. As Lang Yanran gave a sweet shout, her whole aura began to undergo earth-shaking changes. The spiritual energy within the air sea began to slowly condense into a liquid state, and the liquid spiritual power continued to increase until the air sea was filled. The size of the air sea, which should have been fixed in the air sea realm, was at this moment, it began to expand continuously, and it stopped expanding until it was 100 times larger than before. Call. After a while, Lang Yanran let out a long breath. The aura around me has suddenly jumped from the original 4th layer heaven of the sky control realm to the 1st layer heaven of the universal truth realm. Even the injuries that were originally caused by being chased were completely recovered during practice, and even the scars completely disappeared under the action of marrow cleansing pill. This can break through to the universal truth realm so easily. It's easier than breaking through the bottleneck of a small realm. Moreover, the sea of chi that was already finalized has actually expanded more than 100 times. And the concentration of this spiritual power is far from what the universal truth realm should be. What level of chaos heavenly demon technique is the master gave me? For a moment, feeling the terrifying growth of her own power, Leng Yanren's face was filled with disbelief. In just a few hours, you have broken through several small realms, and even crossed the bottleneck of the big realm. If you spread the news, no one will believe it, right? Ah! Suddenly, Leng Yanren screamed. Chen Daoxuan, who originally saw the end of Leng Yanren's breakthrough, was about to say a few words of relief. Hearing her scream, he was also startled. What's wrong? But what went wrong in the practice? Chen Daoxuan ignored the dirt and impurities that emerged from his pores when he was practicing, and quickly put one hand on his shoulder and asked with concern. Within the scope of this temple, he is confident that he can settle anything, even if Leng Yanren's cultivation goes astray, he can also settle it. No, master. Disciple just suddenly found a layer of sticky filth on his body and felt that he was being rude in front of the master. Leng Yanren felt her master's sudden concern and couldn't help lowering her head and whispering. Especially because the master didn't care at all about the layer of filth on her body, she couldn't help but feel moved. Feeling the warmth of master's palm, coupled with the treasures and exercises given by master before, Leng Yanren made up her mind to repay master well in the future. Hi, it turns out this is the case. I was shocked. These impurities are the impurities excreted by the marrow cleansing pill you just took. Just go and wash up in the palace. Chen Daoxuan smiled slightly, put his hands behind his back and said. In the palace, Leng Yanren was a little confused when she heard the master's words. There were wilderness mountains and forests all around. Where was the palace? I forgot about it as a teacher. When Chen Daoxuan heard this, he turned his head and looked in the direction of the main hall, but there was nothing there. He couldn't help but slap his forehead. When he heard the system prompt, he came over as soon as possible, and also hid the main hall. He was afraid that the visitors would not dare to step forward and stop after seeing the main hall from a distance, and scare the genius away, but it's a loss of blood. Now that the apprentice has received it, there is no need to continue hiding it in the main hall. Pointing towards the open space, a large hall suddenly rose from the ground with a rumbling sound. This large hall seems to have existed in ancient times, and it is full of ancient atmosphere and textures. The plaque above contains the power of 3,000 great Tao, which is gathered into two big characters, Heavenly Tao. Leng Yanren just looked at the plaque, and her whole body suddenly became motionless and fell into it. It's as if the soul has been sucked into it and is swimming in the ocean of 3,000 great Tao, completely losing itself. Wake up. Seeing this, Chen Daoxuan couldn't help but shook his head slightly, and then gave a light drink. Hearing the master's voice, Leng Yanren shuddered suddenly and woke up. His whole body was already covered in sticky filth, but now he was even breaking out in a cold sweat. My disciple is incompetent, thank you master for your help. Leng Yanren came back to her senses and bowed to her master in shame, but she was even more shocked in her heart. Just once she glanced at the plaque, she instantly lost her self-awareness, as if she had been pulled into the world of the great Tao's laws. The main hall where master lives alone is so terrifying. What kind of existence should master have? The main hall here is directly named after the way of heaven. What kind of confidence does this have? You must know that everything in the world must follow the way of heaven. Even if you are a cultivator, you are just following heaven. The result of going against heaven is death. If you use the name of heaven, won't you be punished by heaven? Could it be that master is already a being who has no fear of heaven? Leng Yanren didn't dare to think about it anymore, so she could only forcefully convince herself that it must be the special formation in the main hall that gave it such power. Otherwise, she really couldn't understand how such a terrifying existence could accept her as a disciple. It doesn't matter, put this jade pendant away, and you can look at the Tiandao plaque at will in the future. It contains the meaning of the great Tao. If you can understand it a little bit, it will be a great opportunity. Chen Dao, with this jade pendant, you can come and go freely in the temple without danger. Yes, thank you master. Leng Yanren bowed and held up her hands to take the jade pendant. Chen Dao. At that moment, another rope was formed casually, and instead of placing the jade pendant in his hand, he gently put it on his slender neck. There is no need for too much etiquette between you and me, master and disciple. I have brought the jade pendant to you as master. Go to the hall and choose a room you like. Go and wash yourself first. Chen Daoshuan said softly, then turned and left. Thank you, master. Feeling the slender fingers of master just now touching her neck inadvertently, Lang Yanren's ears suddenly felt a little hot. She stammered a thank you, and hurriedly turned around and entered the hall. Although she has been sought after by countless geniuses and even powerful seniors over the years, she has never had close contact with a man. After entering the main hall, Lang Yanren chose a side hall closest to the main hall and found that it had all kinds of facilities. There is even a wooden tub for bathing in the house, with mist emitting from it, which is obviously hot water that has just been put in. Master actually prepared all these for me. Lang Yanren bit her red lips lightly, blue waves flowing in her eyes. However, the sticky feeling on her body made her extremely uncomfortable, so she no longer delayed, took off her dress, which was stained with a lot of blood, and started taking a bath. After several days of sleepless pursuit, Lang Yanren was already exhausted. Feeling the warmth all over her body, she couldn't help but fall asleep slowly. At this time, outside the main hall, Chen Daoshuan was studying his own system. After accepting his disciples, the invincible range of his temple increased from the original 5,000 meters to the current 50,000 meters. Although it was increased tenfold, it was of little use. In this false mountain, there are ferocious beasts everywhere, and it is rare to encounter a human figure. However, he is not discouraged. As long as he keeps going like this, sooner or later, his scope will be able to cover the heavens. Even before that day comes, maybe he no longer needs to rely on the invincible range of this temple. Because when Lang Yanren broke through just now, he got a new system reward. Just now in front of Lang Yanren, he didn't have time to look more. Ding! Lang Yanren, the eldest disciple of the host, has comprehended the first part of the Chaos Heavenly Demon technique, broke through the Universal Truth Realm, reward, 150 years of cultivation, 150 system points, fully comprehended the Chaos Heavenly Demon technique to the perfect state. Seeing this reminder, Chen Daoshuan couldn't help but secretly get excited. Originally, he was a little worried about how to find a suitable technique for practice, but now it seems that there is no need for it at all. As long as the disciples practice, it is enough. As a master, he is only responsible for lying down. No, he is responsible for teaching his disciples well. After receiving the reward for his disciples' breakthrough, Chen Daoshuan found that he had completely understood the Chaos Heavenly Demon technique in his mind. The divine ability contained in it is also as proficient as if it has been used hundreds of millions of times, and can be used at will. In the future, as long as I accept a few more disciples and let them practice the systematic exercises, won't I, as the master, be able to fully understand every exercise? Chen Daoshuan couldn't help but secretly get excited. You must know that the system skills are all at the Hongmeng level. Even the immortal grade skills can only be regarded as rubbish on the street compared with them. Let me see what realm these 150 years of skill have allowed me to break through. I wonder if there is a universal truth realm. After experiencing the technique, Chen Daoshuan opened the personal attribute panel with a thought. In his mind, his disciples are now in the universal truth realm. At least he cannot be in a lower realm than his disciples, right? Even if they are both in the universal truth realm, Chen Daoshuan has the confidence to surpass the level by relying on the Hongmeng level Chaos Heavenly Demon technique that he has fully comprehended. No, it should be crushed by countless large realms. But after seeing the personal panel, he was dumbfounded. He even closed and opened it several times, but the information was the same every time. Host: Chen Daoshuan. Race: human race. Special physique: Hongmeng innate Dao body. Kung Fu practiced: Chaos Heavenly Demon technique perfection. Talent: Hongmeng. Realm: Qi condensation realm first layer. 6. System: are you messing with me? 150 years of cultivation, Qi condensation realm first layer heaven. Even if these 150 years of cultivation are used on a pig, not to mention the air control realm, at least it will have to be the air sea realm, right? Looking at his first layer cultivation in Qi condensation realm, Chen Daoshuan's face turned dark, and he kept asking the system what was going on. His talent is Hongmeng level, so he should be trained in a group with terrifying speed. 100 years of cultivation has given me a Qi condensation realm. Realm: body training, qi condensation, qi si, control of the air, universal truth, return to ruins, annihilation, immeasurable, spirit partitioning, refining the void, integration. Ps. The protagonist's air control realm is equivalent to the immortal realm world where this world has been ascended by transcending tribulation, but I won't explain too much. Hongmeng innate Tao body is the most powerful body in the world. It is more than 1 billion times more powerful than any special body, but the requirements for cultivation are millions of times more than other bodies. But the host does not need to worry. Hongmeng innate Tao body's qi condensation realm is also very strong. After a long time, the system's beep sounded in his mind. After hearing the system's words, Chen Daoshuan breathed a sigh of relief. I see. But, you are very strong, can you be more accurate? Can my qi condensation realm defeat universal truth? Chen Daoshuan doesn't care about the realm itself, what matters is strength. As long as you are strong enough, even if you are in the qi condensation realm, what's the problem? But the system did not respond to Chen Daoshuan's words, as if it wanted him to experiment on his own. That's all. Hey, I just hope that the disciples can gain some momentum and that I, the master, can break through the realm as soon as possible. When Chen Daoshuan saw this, he could only shake his head helplessly, but fortunately, as long as the disciple broke through, he would be rewarded with the apprenticeship. This time I broke through the universal truth realm and gained 100 years of cultivation. What if I break through to a higher realm in the future? Wouldn't it be possible to gain thousands or 10,000 years of cultivation? Even if this physique is a bottomless pit, he can still fill it up. If one apprentice doesn't work, then there will be 2. If 2 don't work, then there will be 3. At worst, we will capture all the geniuses as apprentices. Well, men don't want it. Serious master, who accepts male disciples. After checking his cultivation level, Chen Daoshuan checked the system points he had just obtained. System points, 2,153. 2,000 system points were given in the system gift pack, 150 system points were awarded when Lang Yanren broke through, and there were 3 system points, which Chen Daoshuan had guessed he had just killed 3 universal truth realm. Soon he also understood the purpose of system points. In the system store, system points can be exchanged for various precious items and even daily items, and can also be directly exchanged for cultivation. 1 system point can be exchanged for 1 year of cultivation. You can imagine how precious system points are. After thinking for a moment, Chen Daoshuan exchanged 153 of the system points for cultivation, leaving 2,000 system points. And with the growth of his cultivation for 153 years, Chen Daoshuan couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth when he looked at his second layer of qi condensation realm. I also understood that every time I advance to a small realm, I need 100 years of cultivation. That's all, I don't need to go out for the time being, and my cultivation level doesn't need to be too high. Let's keep the system in place for now. After shaking his head and sighing, Chen Daoshuan took out another object. It is another reward in the gift package, the innate spiritual root enlightenment tea tree. After choosing a location, he placed the enlightenment tea tree on it. The enlightenment tea tree immediately took root and exuded bursts of mysterious Taoist charm. Even if you just sit cross-legged under the tea tree and practice, you can often enter the state of enlightenment. Fortunately, it was planted within the scope of this temple. Otherwise, if it were placed in the outside world, I am afraid that these innate spiritual roots would not be able to grow. Even if one spiritual vein is drained, I am afraid that it will not be enough for the nutrients required by the innate spiritual roots. Just when Chen Daoshuan was about to pick some enlightenment tea to try, Lang Yanren slowly walked out of the main hall. Maybe the dirt was washed away, or maybe it was because of the effect of the marrow cleansing pill, which made Lang Yanren, who was already as beautiful as a fairy in a painting, even more attractive. Especially the dress of demon race is extremely unrestrained, with very little fabric. Although there is a skirt, 2 smooth and slender legs are exposed when walking, and the figure is even more exquisite, swaying slightly with the pace. The most unexpected thing is that after practicing the Chaos Heavenly Demon technique and stimulating innate, a special lavender pattern appears faintly on his smooth lower abdomen, which is very suitable for his identity as a succubus. Chen Dao. But with its all-round invincibility within the temple, it only took a moment for him to wake up. But Lang Yanren was stunned on the spot after walking out of the hall, staring blankly in the direction of the master. It was as if everything had lost its color in his eyes, and only that one man was left, with sword-shaped eyebrows and starry eyes, a light smile on his face, and one hand on his back, and he seemed to be exuding the charm of the heavens. The breeze blew by, the tips of the hair moved slightly, and the tea trees behind him rustled in response to the scene, as if they were cheering for their master. To say that he is an immortal in heaven seems to be belittling him. The great Tao in the world seems to exist because of him. Good. Chen Daoshuan chuckled and nodded, saying that it was good. He didn't know if he was praising his cultivation or his appearance. It's all thanks to Master. Disciple is ashamed. Lang Yanran came back to her senses when she heard Master's voice, and quickly waved her hands, not daring to accept Master's praise. Well, this credit has little to do with being a teacher. Chen Daoshuan smacked his lips slightly, but he didn't explain too much to him. Is there anything you don't understand about cultivation, or have any other doubts? Speak out and I can give you some answers as a teacher. Chen Daoshuan, who didn't want to continue the discussion, simply changed the topic and asked about cultivation. After hearing this, Lang Yanran also became more serious. There is no room for carelessness in matters of cultivation. Disciple has many doubts, and I hope Master can give me some guidance. Lang Yanran asked all the doubts she encountered when practicing the Chaos Heavenly Demon art. On the side, Chen Daoshuan was listening and minding his own business while reaching out towards the Wudao tea tree. The Wudao tea tree reached out a branch with great spirituality. Chen Daoshuan was a little surprised when he saw this. He didn't expect this enlightened tea tree to be so psychic. At that moment, he randomly picked some enlightenment tea, and then gently stroked the branches of the enlightenment tea tree. The enlightenment tea tree was quite happy, like a pet that had been caressed by its owner, and actually swayed a few times. Lang Yanran was still talking about her confusion, but she was startled by the master's next action, and she couldn't help but pause for a moment in her words. With a wave of his hand, Chen Daoshuan transformed a small pavilion out of thin air next to the Wudao tea tree. It was equipped with tables and chairs, and even a good tea set. After he sat down naturally, he waved to Lang Yanran, who was stunned, and motioned for him to come over. Only then did Lang Yanran realize what she was doing. She quickly stepped forward with her big, round white legs and got close to her master, bending her waist to listen to his teachings. In my heart, I am even more unsure about the master's strength. Is this method of creating things out of thin air really something that a mortal monk can do? Isn't master afraid that he has become an immortal? Don't be so formal. Sit down and talk while drinking tea. Chen Daoshuan couldn't help but smile bitterly when he saw his disciple's posture. Shouldn't master and disciple love each other? How inconvenient it will be in the future if you behave like this. How unbecoming is it? Yes, master. Lang Yanran did not refuse, and immediately sat across from him respectfully, raising her head and chest, just like those children in the school. But I couldn't help but feel warm in my heart. I didn't expect that the master, despite his unfathomable strength, could be so approachable. It's just, you will get used to it gradually in the future. Go on. Seeing his disciple being so cautious, Chen Daoshuan was a little helpless, but he also knew that this was not something that could be changed in a day or two, so he simply let nature take its course. When Lang Yanran continued to talk about her doubts about her cultivation, Chen Daoshuan planned to make tea. Lang Yanran took the tea leaves very sensibly and started to use them. He is naturally happy to have some leisure time. Why bother to do it himself when he can have disciples to serve him? As expected, being a master is very comfortable. The moment she got the enlightenment tea, Lang Yanran felt cool and magical all over her body. However, she saw too many strange things in her master's place, so she didn't think much about it. After all the questioning, the enlightenment tea has been brewed. Well, that's right. Just watch it carefully and I will demonstrate it to you. Chen Daoshuan listened to his disciples' confusion about cultivation. Most of them were problems that caused the meridians to circulate unsmoothly. After thinking about it, he felt that it would be better to describe it orally rather than demonstrate it directly. If it were placed before, he would naturally not be able to teach it. But after Lang Yanran understood the first chapter of the Chaos Heavenly Demon Technique, he had already received the perfect reward of the Chaos Heavenly Demon Technique, and all problems were child's play in his eyes. Hearing this, Lang Yanran was slightly startled. Having practiced the Chaos Heavenly Demon technique, she naturally knows that this technique actually has many limitations, but it is as if it is tailor-made for her. At least, you must be a demon race to practice this technique, and it would be best if you have innate charming bones. For superior quality, I didn't expect Master to know this technique. By the way, with such an unfathomable existence as Master, nothing is impossible even if you think about it. Immediately, he cleared away the distracting thoughts in his mind and stared at the Master attentively as he started to operate the technique. It wasn't until Chen Daoxuan completely executed the first part of Zhou Heavenly Demon technique that Lang Yanren felt as if she had been enlightened, and her previous confusion was solved. Although there are still some minor problems, they can be solved as long as you go back and try a few more times. Disciple thanks Master for teaching me the Dharma. Immediately, he stood up and bowed respectfully to the Master. Do you understand? Is there anything else you don't understand? Chen Daoxuan waved his hand slightly to indicate that he should sit down and asked with concern whether his cultivation problem could be solved. After all, he still hopes that his disciples will break through the realm early and he can get more rewards. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the disciples' cultivation. After watching Master's demonstration just now, 8 out of 10 of the problems can be solved, and the remaining 20% can be solved as long as we study for a while. After hearing the Master's words, she quickly responded. That's it. It's easy. The tea is brewed. Pour yourself a cup. Chen Dao, when I think of the effect of enlightenment tea, my eyes suddenly light up. My disciple was so engrossed just now that he forgot to make tea for Master. Please ask Master to punish you. But when his words fell into Lang Yanren's ears, Lang Yanren was slightly stunned, and then immediately knelt down on one knee. My teacher doesn't blame you. It's a very simple literal meaning. You don't need to misinterpret it too much. Pour yourself a cup of tea too. The corner of Chen Daoxuan's mouth twitched. Wasn't he kind enough? Why does this disciple look so afraid of himself? Yes, Master, it's all my fault for being so narrow-minded. Lang Yanren breathed a sigh of relief, stood up and respectfully made tea for her Master, and then poured herself a cup of tea. Her character is not surprising. She has a charming personality and has been able to survive to this day cleanly. She has always acted cautiously, otherwise she would have been kidnapped by many powerful seniors. Well, not bad. I'll leave the tea making to you in the future. Chen Daoxuan didn't pay attention to that. He just took a sip of tea and softly praised Lang Yanren's tea art. Making tea for Master is a blessing for a disciple. Lang Yanren smiled sweetly when she heard her Master praising her, and then under her Master's gaze, she picked up the teacup in front of her and took a sip as well. But as the tea entered her mouth and slid into her belly, her eyes widened suddenly. Then he quickly closed his eyes and adjusted his breathing, and actually entered the state of enlightenment directly. After touching a stick of incense, he slowly opened his eyes. This tea can actually make people enlighten. After Lang Yanren woke up, she opened her mouth slightly in surprise and looked at the teacup in front of her, feeling a little incredible. Who among the monks in the world doesn't want to have such a great opportunity to enter the state of enlightenment? Even though she is the most talented person in the Moro kingdom, she has never entered the realm of enlightenment. This is simply a priceless treasure. That's natural. This is enlightenment tea, which can help people realize enlightenment. Can the remaining 20% of the doubts just now be resolved? Seeing the disciple's cute and shocked expression, Chen Daoxuan picked up the teacup again, took a sip, and asked with a chuckle. Enlightenment tea. I didn't expect there to be such a wonderful tea tree in the world. Hearing the Master's words, Lang Yanren couldn't help but secretly clicked her tongue and was shocked. Even things like enlightenment can be easily accomplished. What else is there that Master cannot do? Reporting to Master, when I first realized the Tao, my disciple had already figured out all the doubts. It's just that this enlightenment tea is so precious, this disciple really deserves it. Regardless of being surprised, Lang Yanren hurriedly replied to her Master's words. That's good. As for this enlightenment tea, although it is precious, but since you have become my Master, why not use it? Chen Daoxuan said with a chuckle, and then took a sip of the enlightenment tea. After drinking it, his brows furrowed slightly, and he couldn't help but wonder why he couldn't enter the state of enlightenment. This enlightenment tea not only tastes good, but has a rich and sweet aftertaste. It does not have any other magical effects. But this scene in Lang Yanren's eyes made her a little more in awe of her master. Why is it that master seems very dissatisfied with such a precious enlightenment tea? Could it be that the enlightenment tea is not worthy of the teacher's taste? If such a divine object were released to the outside world, even the top powers in the infinite realm would be tempted to fight to the death to snatch it. Master, I still have a few questions that I would like to ask Master to clarify. Suddenly something seemed to occur to her. Lang Yanren shook her head slightly to shake off the thoughts in her mind, looked at the master again and asked. After receiving a slight nod from her master, she continued. I dare to ask Master, what level of the Chaos Heavenly Demon technique is given to the disciple? Is it the legendary immortal level technique? She had this guess in her mind when she was practicing the Heavenly Demon Chaos art. Nowadays, there are 4 levels of martial arts in the world: Heaven, Earth, Zan, and Huang. Each level is divided into upper, middle, lower, and top grades. But as far as she knows, even the highest grade in the Holy Land of Cultivation today is only around middle grade. As for the exercises she originally practiced, they were the low-grade exercises passed down from generation to generation by her Lang family. Even so, she became the #1 genius in the Moro Kingdom. But when practicing the Chaos Heavenly Demon technique, she could clearly feel that this technique was probably not something that could be compared to the heavenly level. Most likely, it is the legendary immortal grade technique that only exists. Immortal level, that's not true. When Chen Daoxuan heard this, he was slightly stunned and then shook his head in denial. Lang Yanren sighed secretly when she saw this. It seemed that she was overthinking it. How could there be immortal level skills in this world and was learned by her? It must be a top-notch technique in the heavenly realm. This heavenly demon technique is a Hongmeng level skill. Can the things used by immortal level skills to make fires and cook on a daily basis be comparable to the heavenly demon technique? Chen Daoxuan continued to explain, minding his own business. Although he doesn't know how much stronger the Hongmeng level skills are than the immortal level skills, they are definitely not of the same magnitude. Hongmeng class. Immortal level skills are only suitable for making fire and cooking. For a moment, after hearing this, Lang Yanren's eyes widened, her lips slightly opened, and she felt as if her worldview had collapsed. If the immortal level skills are only suitable for making fires for cooking, then aren't the heaven level skills in major holy places only suitable for using the toilet? As for the earth level kung fu passed down by her family's ancestors, even wiping away dirty things feels irritating. Listen, are you listening? Ming, disciple understands. Master is so kind and virtuous, and my disciples have nothing to repay. After Lang Yanren came to her senses, she immediately kowtowed to her master. Now, in Lang Yanren's heart, she has decided that no matter what the master asks of her, she can accept it, even if it takes her life. The skills that transcend the immortal level are much more valuable than her life. Get up, you don't have to kneel down every now and then. Being a teacher doesn't pay attention to these things. Chen Daoxuan could only help him up again. When he lowered his head, he saw a sway and quickly looked away. By the way, Master, I see that the word Tiandao is written on the main hall. Is it the name of the master? After getting up, Lang Yanren remembered something again and couldn't help but ask. Yes, this sect is Tiandao Pavilion. Chen Daoxuan was a little confused for a while. He had never thought about what the sect he established should be called. After all, before accepting disciples, he was the only one. However, after hearing Lang Yanren's words, he simply agreed to the name Tiandao Pavilion, which was quite impressive. Tiandao Pavilion is indeed the master's sect, and it is named after Tiandao. Lang Yanren took a deep breath and made up her mind to make the reputation of Tiandao Pavilion resound throughout the world and let master know that his investment was not in vain. After the two talked for a while, at the request of the master, Lang Yanren drank all the enlightenment tea in her cup and entered the realm of enlightenment again. This enlightenment lasted for a whole day. When she woke up, Lang Yanren's realm had suddenly been elevated to Universal Truth Realm 2nd Layer Heaven. And after Chen Daoxuan inspected it, he found that its foundation was extremely stable and did not leave any hidden dangers. Chen Daoxuan also received 100 years of cultivation and 100 exchange points. Thank you, Master. Lang Yanren slowly opened her eyes and looked at her master with respect. After joining the master's sect, In less than 2 days, she transformed from the original 4th layer of the Sky Control Realm to the 2nd layer of the Universal Truth Realm. She even has a feeling that with Universal Truth Realm 2nd layer's heavenly strength, she may not be able to kill enemies across levels, and it's the kind that transcends large realms. When she thought of this, Leng Yanren was a little hesitant as to whether she should speak to the master. If you have anything to say, just say it. Chen Daoshuan noticed something strange and asked immediately. As for those 100 years of cultivation, the system has automatically absorbed it for him. Now he has reached the 3rd layer of Qi condensation realm, which makes him a little confused whether to be happy or annoyed. Reporting to Master, my disciple was hunted down and has not returned home for a long time. Logically speaking, the family should send someone to investigate. But now there is no movement. I think I encountered some trouble at home. I want to go back. If the master is not happy, then the disciple will not come back. After finishing speaking, Leng Yanren carefully paid attention to the master's expression. As long as the master was slightly dissatisfied, she planned to accuse him. After all, even if it is a spiritual sect in the world, after joining, you usually need to reduce contact with your family in order to achieve great Tao. And it's not necessarily the case that Master, an extraterrestrial god, needs his disciples to cut off their mortal bonds. Is that so? Are you sure? When Chen Daoshuan heard this, he was not displeased at all, he just expressed concern in a deep voice. If it were before, the disciple had the strength to control the air, I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to help much when he goes back. But now that I have practiced the Chaos Heavenly Demon technique passed down by my master, my cultivation level has reached Universal Truth Realm 2nd layer heaven. This disciple feels that he can even cross the ranks and fight against the masters of the returned ruins realm. Leng Yanren felt the concern in her master's words, her heart trembled, and she honestly expressed her thoughts. Among them, the Moro Kingdom, the king with the highest combat power is the king, who has the strength of the Guishu realm. As for the Leng family, the strongest one is Universal Truth Realm 9th layer Tian. Even so, he is one of the 3 major families in the Moro Kingdom. Leng Yanren had a vague guess that the trouble the Leng family encountered this time was probably caused by the other 2 major families. Do you know who did it to you in the Leng family? Chen Daoshuan nodded slightly and asked again. I don't know, but it's a pity that the 3 people who chased the disciples died in the hands of the master. Disciple made a mistake. I never meant to blame master. After Leng Yanren answered, she suddenly realized that she had said the wrong thing and apologized again. It doesn't matter, but what you said is also a good idea. In that case, let's ask the person who is chasing him. Chen Daoshuan didn't pay attention to this. Instead, his eyes lit up as if he thought of something. Leng Yanren on the side couldn't help but be confused when she heard this. 2 of the pursuers were shot into a bloody mist, and the other had his neck crushed. How could you ask? Could it be that Master is also capable of summoning spirits? It's not surprising, the Master is like an immortal, even if he knows some heresy, it is normal. But Chen Daoshuan obviously did not intend to summon the soul. As he slowly waved his hand, the remaining body floated to the pavilion. Fortunately, it didn't all turn into blood mist, otherwise it would have been a bit troublesome. Chen Daoshuan chuckled, then made a pop sound and snapped his fingers. Immediately afterwards there was a sound of bones cracking. Under Leng Yanren's shocked gaze, the corpse's broken neck was slowly repairing. Finally, the corpse took a sharp breath and opened its eyes. Don't kill me. Don't kill me. As soon as he opened his eyes, the man was struggling in a burst of cries and howls while suspended in the air, and there was liquid flowing down between his trouser legs. Seeing this scene, Leng Yanren's pupils shrank suddenly. Resurrected. Resurrected. This was completely beyond Leng Yanren's knowledge. It is definitely a method that only immortals can do. Looking at the way the man is struggling, he is not a zombie, but a completely normal consciousness. A person who had been dead for more than a day came back to life like this. Noisy. Chen Dao, I ask and you answer. If the answer is not satisfactory, you will die 1,000 times again. Do you understand? Chen Daoshuan's expression was as usual and his voice was extremely calm, but when these words fell into the killer's ears, he felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave. It was as if this young man was the most terrifying monster in the world. Suddenly there was a burst of nodding, like a chicken pecking at rice. Good disciple, if you want to know anything, just ask. Chen Daoshuan then turned his head with satisfaction, stared at his disciple with a smile and said. The tone and look were completely different from when he faced the killer. The double standard made the killer on the side look stupid. Yes, thank you, master. When Leng Yanren came back to her senses, she could no longer remember how many times she had been shocked by her master to the point of numbness in just one day. But it's important to ask for information at this time. Who sent you to hunt me down? Wu, oh, you can talk now. With Chen Daoshuan's words, the killer could answer. The head of the Wang family sent us here. Tell us everything you want to know, just to spare this little guy's life. Master Wang. Do you know what the current situation of my Lang family is, and why no one comes to reinforce me? Well, the villain only knows that the Wang family and the Li family have joined forces to deal with you. As for the current situation, the villain has already been ambushing on the road and has no way of knowing the news in the city. The villain really doesn't know other information. If he lies, he will be struck by lightning. Master, this disciple has finished asking questions. Leng Yanren glanced at the killer with a somewhat cold gaze, and then bowed to her master. Chen Daoshuan nodded slightly and pointed with his hand, and the killer floated towards the Wudao tea tree. When they arrived in front of the Enlightenment tea tree, before the killer could react, the tea tree suddenly drilled out a rhizome and pierced it, turning it into nutrients and absorbing it in an instant. He digested all the Dao fruit into his own body, but its level was too low, and its effect on the enlightenment of the tea tree was negligible. Chen Daoshuan secretly sighed in his heart. It was a pity that after the killer was resurrected, he died again without giving him reward system redemption points. Otherwise, he plans to resurrect this killer and kill him countless times, and directly earn him hundreds of millions of points to exchange for hundreds of millions of years of cultivation. Leng Yanren couldn't help but be a little surprised. She didn't expect that this precious enlightenment tea tree actually had such a side. The strong man of the universal truth realm turned into nutrients like this, it's really terrifying. Master, the heads of those two major families are both universal truth realm 9th layer heavens, just like me, the head of the Lang family. If the two families join forces, it will be difficult for our Lang family to deal with them, but my disciple is confident that we can deal with them. Please also ask Master to allow me to go down the mountain. After hearing this, Chen Daoshuan touched his chin and immediately had an idea. Since you insist on going down the mountain and suppressing your cultivation as a teacher, let's have a fight with you and test your strength. The system said that his strength is far beyond the ordinary realm. Today is a good time to test it and try out Leng Yanren's strength. Anyway, within the scope of this heavenly Dao palace, even if he only uses his own Qi condensation realm 3rd layer heavenly strength, he will not really suffer any harm. Thank you, Master. Leng Yanren's eyes lit up. She just wanted to test her current strength and whether she could cope with the powerful Ruins realm who was stronger than the universal truth realm. But when the two stood still and looked at the Master's cultivation after suppressing it, she was dumbfounded. Qi condensation realm, 3rd layer heaven. Master, this disciple is now in the universal truth realm 2nd layer heaven. And he is still practicing Hongmeng Kung Fu given by Master. Isn't this suppression too harsh? In the Qi condensation realm, aren't they just entry-level monks who have just entered cultivation, passed the body tempering period, and begun to absorb spiritual energy? It doesn't matter, just try your best. The corners of Chen Daoshuan's mouth couldn't help but twitch slightly, feeling extremely helpless. He doesn't want to be suppressed to the 3rd layer of Qi condensation realm. Oh my god. But the problem is, more than 300 years of cultivation have only pushed his realm to the 3rd layer of Qi condensation realm. What can he do? Okay, then the disciple will take action. Master, be careful. After hearing the Master's words, Leng Yanren could only sigh secretly. It seemed that she was still too weak in the eyes of the Master. Using Qi condensation realm 3rd layer Tianlai to sparring with him, there is a big difference between them. Qi condensation realm, Qi Si realm, Sky control realm, universal truth realm. Her true combat power now is probably comparable to the return to Ruins realm. Doesn't it mean that Master has to cross 4 or 5 major realms to spar with her? But when she thought of Master's shocking immortal methods, she was not worried that she could hurt him. No, she had no chance. It's just a pity that I can't test whether I can compare with the strong ones in the ruins realm. Do it, Chen Daoshuan called out in a deep voice, feeling a little nervous in his heart. After all, there was such a huge gap. The system said that his strength was much stronger than his realm, but he didn't know how many realms he had if he had more realms. Don't fall behind all of a sudden and lose face in front of your disciples. Following Chen Daoshuan's order, Leng Yanren did not dare to relax at all, and used the strongest attack method. Heavenly Demon Finger. With a sweet cry, his body swayed with the movements, almost blinding Chen Daoshuan. Leng Yanren directly used the divine ability, Heavenly Demon Finger she had learned in the first chapter of Heavenly Demon Technique. As soon as she pointed out, it was like the Heavenly Demon descending, and a gray Heavenly Demon appeared faintly behind her. In line with her movements, she clicked towards Chen Daoshuan. Heavenly Demon means. When Chen Daoshuan saw this, he also chose to use the Heavenly Demon Finger to deal with it, but after he used it, he was completely different from Leng Yanren. I saw figures slowly emerging one after another behind Chen Daoshuan, and finally 10 heavenly demons with red eyes and strong evil aura appeared. They all followed Chen Daoshuan's movements and pointed towards Leng Yanren. Before the two attacks touched each other, the shadow behind Leng Yanren could no longer withstand the pressure and disappeared. Leng Yanren felt as if she was being restrained, and cold sweat appeared on her forehead, as if the top 10 heavenly demons were really standing in front of her. With this blow, the top 10 heavenly demons were attacking her. Fortunately, at the last moment when their fingertips were about to touch, Chen Daoshuan instantly withdrew all the power of Heavenly Demon's finger. He just lightly touched Leng Yanren's fingertips, and their index fingers connected without making any terrible sound. Call. Master's Heavenly Demon Finger is so terrifying. It's like the disciple is facing the 10 heavenly demons. The pressure alone makes the disciple's heart almost collapse. Disciple is ashamed. Just now I thought I could compete with Master. Leng Yanren took 2 deep breaths, then regained her composure, and immediately said to her master in shame. Unexpectedly, the master only used the 3rd layer heavenly realm of Qi condensation realm to make her unable to resist, and it was difficult for her to even think of resisting. It's too scary. If Master doesn't suppress his realm, wouldn't it be possible to poke a big hole in the sky with one finger? Tisk. Chen Dao. But this way, he was a little unsure of what level of monks he could compete with. Master, disciple, can you take back your hand? While Chen Daoshuan was thinking in his mind, Leng Yanren asked shyly with a blushing face. After the two of them touched each other, they still kept their index fingers touching. If Chen Daoshuan didn't stop his hand, she naturally didn't dare to move. Ahem, of course, although your strength is enough to defend yourself, you will inevitably encounter danger. Just wait. Chen Daoshuan coughed slightly in embarrassment, and then with a thought, he took out a fine jade pendant. Then he stored the heavenly demon finger, which he hit with all his strength, in it. Although the attacks within the heavenly demon palace will gradually decrease after leaving the range, the heavenly demon refers to his own strength and will not be affected by leaving the range. This jade pendant contains a strike with the same strength as the finger just now. Wearing it on your body can save your life at critical moments. After hearing this, Leng Yanren, who took the jade pendant, was immediately overjoyed. Originally, she felt that her own strength was enough to overwhelm the other 2 major families in Moro. Now that Master has this jade pendant as his trump card, even those in the Return to Ruins realm, no, even those in the Annihilation realm will definitely have no choice but to drink in hatred. Only she, who had just faced Chen Daoshuan's finger, knew how terrifying the power was in it. Disciple, thank you Master. As soon as the disciples finish taking care of their family affairs, they will rush back to serve the Master. After hearing this, Chen Daoshuan waved his hand slightly and returned to the main hall. Leng Yanren bowed deeply in the direction of the main hall, then turned around and headed down the Zuwu mountain. Walking along the same escape route when she was being chased, Leng Yanren felt a little sad. She didn't expect that in less than 2 days, she would undergo such earth-shaking changes. I even saw so many heaven-defying methods that only immortals can achieve. And all this is because she has an immortal master. After handling the Leng family's affairs this time, I have paid off the Leng family's feelings. I will return to the mountain and serve the master wholeheartedly. Thinking of this, Leng Yanren's speed increased a bit. The capital of Moro Kingdom, Lang family. Master Lang, listen to Wang's advice and close the formation. I will let you live. Wang Mang, do you think I am a 3-year-old child? Haha, forget it, there is no point in talking nonsense. Master Li, you and I will work together to break this formation as soon as possible. HMPH, as agreed, my Li family only needs 40% of the benefits, but that girl Lang Yanran has to be mine. This is nature, this is nature. Wang Mang laughed when he heard what Master Li said. But he couldn't help but secretly thought, that girl, I'm afraid your Mr. Li won't have the chance to enjoy it. He is obviously an old man who is hundreds of years old, but he still has evil thoughts because of that girl Lang Yanran. However, Wang Mang had to admit that Lang Yanran was indeed very attractive, not only because of her appearance, but most importantly, her talent was at the holy level. If it can be used as a cauldron, maybe we can break through the bottleneck and set foot in the ruins realm. Now that the head of the Li family is old and nearing his end of life, he is eager to use Lang Yanran as a cauldron to break through. But he would not let it succeed, so he sent a killer, not to capture Lang Yanran alive, but to kill Lang Yanran directly. While talking, the two of them had already bombarded the Lang family's protective formation several times. After a while, some cracks appeared in the Lang family's formation. Boom! As the last blow fell, it was completely unable to withstand the attacks of the two Universal Truth Realm 9th layer experts, and it collapsed. Boys, take action. Chapter 11. The moment the Lang family's defensive formation was shattered, Wang Mang called on the many family masters he had brought with him and charged towards the Lang family. As for the head of the Li family, he did not hesitate and also let his descendants break into it. Then the two of them stood in the air not far from the Cold War between the head of the Lang family, looking at him teasingly. The strength of the three families is almost the same, and they are all one of the strongest families in the capital. Now that the two families have joined forces, there are twice as many people as the Lang family. For a while, the Lang family's house was filled with mourning. Most of the Lang family's descendants were besieged and severely injured and fell. Cold War looked at this scene even though he was extremely anxious, but he was helpless. Facing the other two family heads who are also Universal Truth Realm 9th layer heavens, he has no time to lend a helping hand to the younger ones in the family. You two have destroyed the balance of the three major families, aren't you afraid that His Majesty will take action and completely raze your family to the ground? The Cold War saw that as time went by, more and more descendants of the Lang family were hurt, and they could only grit their teeth and move out of His Majesty in an attempt to threaten the two of them. Haha, don't use your Majesty to oppress me. Now even our Majesty may not be able to protect himself, let alone come to save your Lang family. Wang Mang smiled contemptuously and crossed his arms over his chest, not showing any concern at all. The two of them are not in a hurry to take action against the Lang family. They only need to intercept him and wait for the younger generations in the family to completely eradicate the Lang family. What do you mean? Cold War frowned when he heard that His Majesty could not protect himself. If this is really the case, then the Lang family may have no choice but to admit defeat today. I just don't know if that little girl is in danger. I hope she doesn't return to the capital to die. Just when Wang Mang planned to continue to speak out against the Cold War mentality and let it defeat itself, an extraordinary-looking young monk wearing luxurious robes slowly rose into the sky. The Lang family can't even win it. How long do you two want me to wait? The young man had a displeased look on his face, and did not take the two heads of the Universal Truth Realm 9th layer heaven into his eyes at all, and scolded them for a while. Sir, please be patient. This Cold War and I are both from the Universal Truth Realm 9th layer. If we fight for our lives, it will be really troublesome. The lives of the two of us are naturally not worth mentioning, but if it affects the adults, the sin will be huge. Upon seeing this, Wang Mang and the two men quickly bowed respectfully to the young man. The young man's name was Zhang Tian's. Although his realm was only that of Universal Truth Realm 5th layer heaven, the two of them did not dare to be rude. After all, Zhang Tian's is the chief disciple of Luo Tianzong, and if nothing happens, he has a high chance of taking over as the next sect leader in 200 years at most with his talent. HMPH, that's ridiculous. Zhang Tian's heard this but dismissed it, as if he was not afraid of Universal Truth Realm 9th layer. As long as your Lang family hands over Lang Yanren and becomes my servant, I will let you go. How about that? Then he turned to look at Cold War, who looked wary, and said in a calm tone. My lord, to be honest, Yanren is not at home at this time. Please sir, please let the two of them stop their hands first. It won't be too late to discuss this matter after Yanren comes back. Although Cold War was unwilling in his heart, he had to bow his head under the roof at this time, so he could only pretend to agree for the time being and wait until Yanren came back to find a solution. The expressions of the two family heads behind Zhang Tian's also changed slightly because of his words. The head of the Li family came to attack the Lang family this time. What he wanted was to use Lang Yanren as a furnace to break through the bottleneck before his end. If Zhang Tian's also wanted that Lang Yanren, wouldn't he be hopeless? As for Wang Mang, his face turned pale. He sent 3 Universal Truth Realm assassins to intercept and kill Lang Yanren. It's over now. Even though Lang Yanren is extremely talented, facing the pursuit of 3 Universal Truth Realm Masters, she will definitely end up dead. When he thought of this, cold sweat broke out on Wang Meng's forehead. This has offended Zhang Tian's to death. I just hope that I can find a chance to run away before the news comes back. Just when everyone was having different thoughts, Zhang Tian's was about to continue speaking when his eyes suddenly lit up and he saw a figure in the distance that people couldn't take their eyes away from, coming through the air at great speed. Isn't it the Lang Yanren he wants? Zhang Tian suddenly smiled and waved slightly, indicating to the two family heads to stop temporarily, and the two had no choice but to do so. When Wang Meng saw Lang Yanren's figure, his eyes widened in disbelief, but he let out a long sigh of relief. Yanren, leave quickly. After Lang Qing gritted his teeth and struggled for a moment, a trace of determination flashed in his eyes, and he turned to Lang Yanren and shouted. Originally, he pretended to agree to Zhang Tian's just to temporarily alleviate the casualties of the Lang family. He never thought of actually handing over Lang Yanren as a bargaining chip to save the Lang family. Now that he saw Lang Yanren rushing back to the Lang family, he immediately made up his mind and planned to help Lang Yanren escape, while he himself would fight to the death. How far the younger members of the family can escape depends on fate. If something like an ant dares to ruin my master's important affairs, you will not be able to survive or die. When Zhang Tian's heard what Cold War said, his smiling face suddenly fell. But Lang Yanren seemed not to hear it, and did not turn around and run away, but instead sped up her movements. A moment later, he was standing above the Lang family, confronting everyone. I originally thought that it was just the Wang family and the Li family who joined forces, but I didn't expect that the chief disciple of Luo Tianzong was involved. Lang Yanren suddenly frowned. If it were in the past, let alone Luo Tianzong, it would be difficult for her to think of a solution just if the Wang and Li families joined forces. If it were a behemoth like the Luo Tian sect that towered over the Moro kingdom, she would be unable to provoke them and could only try her best to protect herself. But it was different now. When she thought about the master who existed like an immortal behind her, Lang Yanren showed no fear at all when facing everyone. Instead, she adopted a posture of looking down. She could not embarrass her Tiandao pavilion or her master. You rats, if you attack my Lang family today, have you thought about the consequences? Lang Yanren looked down at everyone for a week, and when she opened her mouth, everyone's jaws dropped. Even Lang Qing looked at Lang Yanren in surprise, a little confused. Facing the Wang and Li families, as well as the chief of Luo Tianzong, how could Lang Yanren be so confident? Haha, that's it. Others say that Lang Yanren is very capable in dealing with things. It turns out that she is so when we see her today. You just showed up, and you can see the situation clearly at a glance. You know that I am here for her, so why don't you just raise my banner? Wonderful, wonderful. Zhang Tian's was stunned for a moment, and then his eyes lit up, as if he had figured it out, and he immediately clapped and praised him. And everyone who was originally stunned by Lang Yanren's words suddenly understood after hearing this, and couldn't help but glance at Lang Yanren. This woman is really smart. Bah, bang, bang. Followed by a burst of applause from Zhang Tian's, coupled with the words of explanation. For a moment, everyone present showed expressions of sudden realization, and when they looked at Lang Yanren, they couldn't help but feel a little more fearful. This woman's character is too terrible. As soon as he showed up, he noticed the overall situation at a glance and immediately chose the behavior that was most beneficial to him. As long as they are tied to Zhang Tian's, what do the Wang family and the Li family count? Maybe Zhang Tian's would even punish the other two families and give the Leng family some compensation for her sake. Simply terrible. The head of the Wang family and the Li family were a little panicked. They never expected that Leng Yanren had such means and vision. It's not easy. If Zhang Tian's really wanted to support her, their family would be bleeding heavily. Not only did we not get any benefits this time, we might even lose a fortune. Yes, you are very good. As my servants, I can indeed treat them as ants. Today, I will support you, he. Come to my side. After Zhang Tian's praised her for a while, he looked Leng Yanren up and down and couldn't help but admire her. She is indeed a beauty in the world. Now I can't wait to put my hands on it, so I want to call it to come to me. But Leng Yanren was unmoved, and instead looked at him with a strange look. As if, looking at an idiot. I'll give you 10 breaths to retreat. If you don't attack the Leng family again, I'll spare your life. If not, just stay here today. Leng Yanren looked at Zhang Tian's for a long time before she recovered and continued to speak to everyone indifferently. These words fell into the ears of everyone. They just looked at me and I looked at you, and finally focused on Zhang Tian's. It's okay to have a bit of a temper, but you have to listen to what I say. Come here. Zhang Tian's was a little embarrassed for a moment when everyone was watching him. The smile on his face disappeared and he shouted again in a commanding tone. He even stretched out his hand slightly, grasped the void, and the spiritual energy formed a palm that stretched forward, trying to capture Leng Yanren in front of him. The spiritual energy that was mobilized at will actually made the three family heads of Universal Truth Realm 9th layer take a breath of air. The purity of this spiritual energy is even purer than theirs. If it really takes action, even the Universal Truth Realm 4th layer heaven will be enough to fight with their 9th layer heaven, or even be stronger. Break. Leng Yanren raised her brows and didn't care at all. She just raised her green hand and pointed at it casually. Is this girl crazy? That lord casually struck me. Not even the Universal Truth Realm 9th layer would dare to treat him like this. Could it be that my brain was frightened and I actually planned to take it with one finger? Everyone present suddenly seemed to have seen a big joke. In their opinion, Zhang Tian's, as the chief disciple of Luo Tianzong, this attack might be enough to suppress most of the Universal Truth Realm experts. How could Leng Yanren be able to stop him, let alone such an understatement? But the moment the spiritual palm touched Leng Yanren's index finger, everyone was dumbfounded. Crack. With a crisp sound, the palm of his hand shattered like fragile glass. It must be that the adult was afraid of hurting the little girl, so he didn't use any force, right? It seems that with that move just now, the master planned to use his momentum to make this girl surrender. I didn't expect that this guy didn't know what is good and what is good. That should be the case, but if this girl from the Leng family doesn't give you face, I'm afraid it won't end well. After everyone present was stunned for a moment, they quickly came to their senses and found the most suitable reason to convince themselves. But Zhang Tian's frowned slightly. If others didn't know, how could he himself be unclear? Although he couldn't say he used all his strength with that blow just now, it was at least able to suppress all opponents in the Universal Truth Realm and below. And from the blow just now, Zhang Tian's also saw some clues. Leng Yanren is not the Yukong realm rumored by everyone, but the real Universal Truth Realm Cultivation. Even the 3 Universal Truth Realm family heads on the side saw this problem. No wonder I was able to escape from the hands of 3 Universal Truth Realm killers. It turns out I hid my cultivation before. Wang Meng narrowed his eyes slightly and finally figured out how Leng Yanren escaped from the hands of the 3 killers. Yanren, when did you break through the Universal Truth Realm? Could it be that you hid your cultivation before? But even Cold War looked shocked and couldn't help but ask. When Leng Yanren broke through the Universal Truth Realm, he, the head of the Leng family, didn't even know. I'll tell the master about this in detail later, but Yanren was indeed in the 4th layer of the Sky Control Realm before. It's just that I met the master, and I broke through to the Universal Truth Realm in one day. Leng Yanren glanced in the direction of the head of the house and answered the head of the house's question casually. Regarding the master's power, Leng Yanren felt that there was no need to hide it, and she was determined to make the master's name and Tiandao Pavilion resound throughout the world. Besides, she couldn't think of any better way to repay master's kindness. Haha, you are quite good at joking. You have broken through to the universal truth realm in one day. Do you think you are the reincarnation of an immortal? Since you want to use my banner to settle the two aristocratic families today, you should listen carefully to my words. If you want a horse to run, you have to give it grass. You don't understand this, right? Zhang Tian smiled disdainfully. So what if she broke through the universal truth realm? She still couldn't escape from his grasp. But that's okay, the dual cultivation cauldron of the universal truth realm is much stronger than the sky control realm. When the potential is used up, just with this good-looking skin, even if you lose your cultivation and stay by your side as a maid, it will still be good. Presumptuous. I, Lang Yanren, am now a disciple of Tiandao Pavilion. Even if it is grass, I have to be fed by my master. How can it be your turn? When Lang Yanren heard the guy's words, her expression suddenly turned ugly, and she even became murderous towards Zhang Tian's. Tisk, are you starting to raise flags again? Very good, I will educate you in advance today. Zhang Tian's disagrees. Tiandao Pavilion. This little girl really dares to brag about her movie. Which sect dares to use the name of heaven, and it can't bear the punishment of heaven, right? If you can take on my 3 moves without defeat, I will retreat right now. Qingdao Ghost Slayer. As soon as he finished speaking, without waiting for Lang Yanren to agree, he directly made the first blow with his handmade knife, and used a full 80% of his strength. Heavenly Demon Finger. Lang Yanren's pupils shrank when she saw this. Facing the chief of Luo Tianzong, she didn't dare to look down on him, so she directly used her strongest attack with all her strength. The two figures collided in an instant. Boom. As the two figures collided, dust, smoke and tiles flew everywhere, along with many sharp swords flying out. Everyone affected by this was left with wounds that were as deep as the bones. Ah, my legs, my eyes, it's so terrifying. Master Zhang's move, just the sword light emanating from the aftermath, is so terrifying. Presumably Lang Yanren will be seriously injured even if she doesn't die. Everyone who was affected screamed, and everyone was stunned by the power of this move. They thought that if the target was themselves, they would have become scum. This blow would have caused a lot of damage to us monks from the Universal Truth Realm 9th layer heaven. As expected of the chief disciple of the Luo Tian sect, if all the trump cards are revealed, I am afraid that he will be able to survive in front of a strong man from the Ruins realm. You know, he is the Universal Truth Realm 4th layer. The heads of the 3 major families also widened their eyes when they saw this scene. Especially Cold War, he clenched his fists, his palms were full of sweat, and almost couldn't help but rush forward to save Lang Yanren, but he knew that if he did it himself, the other 2 family heads would not let it go. So I could only choose to grit my teeth and endure it. As the dust and smoke dispersed, 2 figures were revealed. Everyone was so frightened that their eyes widened and they could fit an egg into their mouths. Lang Yanren, who originally thought she was going to be severely injured, was safe and sound. On the other hand, Mr. Zhang, whom they favored and fawned over, was struck by that finger and almost lost half of his body. The right arm and the right shoulder have disappeared, and there is still a black evil spirit eroding from the wound. Thump. Zhang Tian's knelt on the ground in pain, with cold sweat breaking out from the pain on his forehead. So weak. Lang Yanren was slightly absent-minded. She didn't expect that this guy looked so strong, but turned out to be so weak. But again, this sentence is very weak, and she also said it to herself. After seeing the master's heavenly demon finger from the 3rd layer of Qi condensation realm, she felt that she was extremely weak. How dare you hurt the chief of my sect? Before everyone could recover, an old man with a gloomy face had appeared beside Zhang Tian's, took out a pill and put it into his mouth, and used his spiritual power to suppress the continued erosion of the evil spirit. I think it's not easy for you to cultivate, so I'll capture you as soon as possible and follow this elder back to Luotian sect to be punished. I won't be able to spare your life. The elder looked at Lang Yanren with a gloomy look, and cursed him half to death in his heart. He followed the chief disciple out to protect the Dharma, but caused the chief disciple to be so severely injured. This was a huge dereliction of duty, and he would definitely be punished after he returned. And the woman in front of me is the culprit. Take her back to the sect. I hope the sect leader can give him a lenient sentence. The younger one is here, the older one is here. Take my heavenly demon finger first and then talk. Lang Yanran raised her eyebrows. Although she could not tell the realm of the old man in front of her, he was at least a powerful expert in the ruins realm. However, she did not intend to just surrender, as that would simply bring shame to her master. Moreover, even if this guy is a master in the ruins realm or even an even stronger annihilation realm, so what? Master gave her a trump card to save her life. Thinking of this, Lang Yanran pointed at the old man without any hesitation. Humph, it's just a trick. The old man snorted coldly, condensed his spiritual power in his palm, turned it into sharp claws and grabbed at Lang Yanran. The palms of their hands collided, Lang Yanran groaned, and stepped back 10 feet before releasing the force. The old man seemed to be unharmed and did not take a step back. He inadvertently put his hands behind his back, so that no one noticed his shaking palms. A mere universal truth realm second layer heaven can actually erupt with such terrifying attack power. What kind of divine ability is this little girl practicing? But some small tricks are useless under the strength of the 7th layer heaven in the return to ruins realm. The old man was secretly surprised, but he was still confident that with his strength, it would not be a problem to capture this woman. The people around were also amazed when they saw it. Is this the strong man from the ruins realm? The divine ability that severely injured Mr. Zhang with one finger has no effect. But this Lang Yanran's strength surprised me a little, she is so terrifying. If he is allowed to practice for some more time, wouldn't he be able to defeat the Guishu realm, and the Lang family will completely crush the other 2 aristocratic families? Everyone was talking a lot, and even the 3 family heads were surprised. They didn't expect Lang Yanran to have such strength. They even think that Lang Yanran is now capable of fighting against Universal Truth Realm 9th layer, and maybe she will gain the upper hand. And all of this should come from that terrifying divine ability finger. Thinking of this, the 2 masters looked at Cold War with a little more scruples in their eyes. If Cold War could use the divine ability, wouldn't it be possible to easily kill them both? Let's see how long you can resist. Without any delay, the old man stepped forward again and attacked Lang Yanran. Lang Yanran could only use the heavenly demon finger to deal with it continuously. Even though her chi-si expanded 100 times due to the chaos heavenly demon technique, it was still too much use to continuously use the heavenly demon finger. After a while, I felt that my spiritual power was somewhat insufficient, and it became increasingly difficult to cope with it. The old man became more and more frightened as he fought. He originally thought that this kind of divine ability must consume a lot of life-saving divine ability. With the realm of Universal Truth Realm 2nd layer, he could only use it 2 or 3 times at most. But Lang Yanran pointed out more than 10 fingers, and she didn't even run out of spiritual energy. How can it not be shocking? It's a pity that the gap in realm is still too huge after all. What? The spiritual energy is gone. Let's see how you can resist now. Seeing that Lang Yanran had stopped taking action, the old man sneered and raised his hand to grab her neck. But at this moment, Lang Yanran let out a long sigh. Everyone thought it was because she knew the tragedy she was about to face, so they sighed. But Lang Yanran took out a jade pendant from her arms and crushed it without hesitation with a click to the old man. It's a pity. After all, I used the trump card that Master left for me. Lang Yanran murmured in a low voice, and in front of her, a heavenly demon exuding evil aura suddenly appeared, looking at the incoming old man with scarlet eyes. Point it out. The old man realized something was wrong and wanted to retreat, but under the gaze of heavenly demon's scarlet eyes, he felt as if he was being restrained, unable to move at all. I could only watch helplessly as the heavenly demon pointed at the center of my eyebrows. With one finger drop, the heavenly demon disappeared, as if it had never existed. But the cold sweat that covered everyone present reminded them that the scene just now was real. The terrifying aura made them want to kneel on the ground and tremble, but they lost control of their bodies. Looking at the old man again, he found that he was standing there blankly, his eyes had lost their energy, and there was a hole between his eyebrows. There was even more evil spirit spreading from the wound. Within a moment, the old man was completely eroded by the evil spirit and scattered like dust. What was that just now? Just the terrifying aura emanating from that thing made me unable to move at all, as if life and death were out of my control. It's terrible, It's terrible. I won't fight, I want to go home, I want to go home. I don't want to die, don't kill me, monster, monster. As the old man turned into dust and dissipated, everyone on the scene couldn't help but swallow. When they looked at Lang Yanren, their eyes were full of fear. There are also many mentally handicapped people who were immediately frightened into madness after being glanced at by the heavenly demon. Including the three heads of Universal Truth Realm 9th Layer Heaven, everyone felt trembling at this time and resisted the urge to escape from this place. Yanren, what was that just now? Cold War was the first to come to his senses, wiped the cold sweat from his forehead, and asked with some lingering fear. It's just the means that Master left for me. But now that the trouble has been solved, the head of the family should clean up the battlefield quickly. As for the Li family and the Wang family, after today, if you cede 50% of the property to my Lang family, can you spare your lives? Are you willing? Lang Yanren nodded slightly to Cold War, then looked at the other two family heads. If she hadn't exhausted her spiritual power just now, she would have just killed the two people here. However, after today, the other two major families would not dare to attack the Lang family again. But now that I have offended Luo Tianzong, it is a bit troublesome. I am afraid I will need to trouble the master again after I go back. Thinking of this, Lang Yanren felt a little ashamed. The trouble of going down the mountain was not solved, but caused new troubles for master who needed help. I, Wang Mang, have no objection. After today, I will give you 50% of my property with both hands. I, the Li family, have no objection. The two heads of the family looked at each other, bowed their hands to Lang Yanren, and immediately agreed. They didn't dare to bet on whether Lang Yanren could use the terrible method just now. Even the strong men in the ruins realm can't stop them, so what do they mean? Moreover, Lang Yanren's strength is now obvious to all. Even if they don't cede resources today, they can still suppress the two of them when the Lang family is ready. After hearing the words of the two major families, Lang Yanren looked at Cold War. Get out. Cold War immediately understood, and with a cold snort told the two major families to get out. Nowadays, many of the Lang family's descendants are seriously injured and need timely treatment. He has no time to find trouble for the two of them now. Farewell. The two of them did not dare to stay any longer, so they took their own clansmen with them and quickly escaped from the Lang family, pulling the frightened lost heart maniac along with them. Witch. You witch. Just when Lang Yanren was about to cross her legs and adjust her breathing, a voice came into her ears. She looked up and found that it was Zhang Tian's, who had just been crippled and seriously injured by a finger. Kill me if you dare. Ha ha ha, Luo Tianzong will not let you Lang family go. You probably won't be able to use your method a second time, right? Today, you Lang family members will be buried with me. Zhang Tian's face was ferocious. Not only did that finger severely injure half of his body, but also shattered a corner of his qi. His spiritual energy leaked out and he would no longer be able to practice in the future. He is the majestic chief of the Luotian sect and a well-deserved pride of heaven. If he had not met Lang Yanren, a monster, with his talent, he would have been able to step into the realm of nirvana and take over the position of the sect leader. But today, my path to spiritual practice was cut off by this witch. How hateful. What do you mean? If you don't explain clearly, I will cut you into a stick. When Lang Yanren heard his words, she couldn't help feeling uneasy. Without caring about adjusting her breath, she picked up a long sword from the ground and stabbed Zhang Tian's other arm mercilessly. In front of her master, she is soft and weak, but facing the enemy, she, Lang Yanren, is not a virgin. Cough. What's the point of telling you? Now in the capital palace, there are still elders from the Guishu realm of our Luo Tian sect sitting in charge. Otherwise, why do you think the emperor can't show up? Now that you have killed my sect elder and deposed my chief disciple, haha, your Lang family is finished. Witch, bah. Zhang Tian stared resentfully at the face in front of him that no man could refuse, but now he no longer had the greed he had before, but only hatred remained. It's all these women. Zhang. The sword light flashed, and Zhang Tian's eyes were full of resentment, but his vision was a little blurry, and he could only vaguely see a body without a head. Oh, it turns out it's mine. Lang Yanren looked indifferent and threw the sword aside, but she felt worried in her heart. According to what this guy said, there is still a strong man from the Luo Tian sect in the Ruixu realm in the capital at this time. Now that the trump card given by her master has been used, what should she do? Yanran, let's go. If you succeed in your cultivation in the future, you will be able to avenge my Lang family. After being silent for a moment, Cold War walked forward and said in a calm tone. Hearing this, Lang Yanran frowned. If it were before, she could advance and retreat with the Lang family and fight to the death to repay the Lang family for their kindness in raising her. But now, she has become Master's disciple. If she falls here, wouldn't it be a waste of Master's cultivation for her? Thinking of this, Lang Yanran couldn't help but feel a little confused. Call, Master, there is no need to say anything. I am still a member of the Lang family today. If the Lang family survives this disaster, it will not be too late to say so. Lang Yanran's eyes gradually became firm and she laughed at herself. I didn't expect that I would be so timid at times, wanting to run away before I even saw the enemy. If he really escaped, where would the Master's face be and where would the Tiandao Pavilion's face be? Even if you die, you can't lose any face to your Master. This, Cold War was stunned for a moment, and wanted to persuade him a few more words, but suddenly his expression changed drastically and he turned around to look. In the direction of the Imperial Palace, a menacing figure struck quickly. How brave! I didn't expect that in this Moro country, someone would dare to kill someone from our Luo Tian sect. Ants. The arrival was so loud that even though they were several miles apart, the sound was so loud that it hurt people's ears. Their strength even reached the terrifying level of 9th layer heaven. A moment later, the visitor was already hanging over the Lang family, looking down at everyone as if he were looking at a group of scum who were about to be judged. Who did it? That's all, we'll just be buried with you ants. Luo Tian's big hand seal. Before everyone in the Lang family could answer, the powerful man in the ruins realm raised his hand angrily and used divine ability, condensing a palm that could cover the sky and the sun. The powerful pressure emanating from it made everyone in the Lang family feel stunned. Can't afford to raise my waist. Then he slapped the Lang family hard with his palm. Boom! As the old man from the Guishu realm pressed down with his palm, Luo Tian's big handprint followed with a roaring sound and moved towards the Lang family's mansion to suppress it. The younger generations of the Lang family were already kneeling on the ground, unable to move just by feeling the terrifying pressure. The huge gap in their realms prevented them from even thinking about resisting. Even Cold War, the head of the Universal Truth Realm 9th layer Heaven family, could only grit his teeth and brace himself against the powerful Luo Tian mudra of the Return to Ruins realm, his waist becoming more and more bent. It's too scary. Is this the strength of a strong man from the Ruins realm? I don't know if Lang Yanran can still bring out the terrifying treasure just now. If not, I'm afraid it will be reduced to ashes under this palm today. The strong man of Luo Tian's sect is indeed not a being that we can contend with, and his sect master has the strength of the Nirvana realm. What kind of terrifying existence must he be? The Lang family, it's over. In the capital, many forces were watching this battle. Seeing that the Lang family was about to perish, many families were already ready to take action. He planned to wait until the strong men from the Guishu realm killed the Lang family, and then take action as soon as possible and start snatching the Lang family's property in the city. Especially the Wang and Li families. They originally thought that their vitality would be severely damaged after this incident, and they would have to compensate the Lang family with huge resources. But now, both families have hope again. As long as the Lang family is destroyed in the hands of the powerful Luo Tianzong, not only will the two families suffer no losses, they will even make huge profits. It can be said that almost 99% of the people in the entire capital are looking forward to the demise of the Lang family. Cold War, on the other hand, looked at Lang Yanran with a hint of hope in his eyes. But he found that Lang Yanran also had a look of determination on her face, and it seemed that she had no way to save her life. My Lang family is really finished this time. Cold War smiled bitterly, and closed his eyes in despair when facing the big handprint of Luo Tian that was about to fall on him. Finally, with a loud boom, a handprint shaped tens of meters deep appeared on the ground around the Lang family's mansion. Everyone thought that the Lang family had been completely destroyed by this powerful man from the Return to Ruins realm. But everyone in the Lang family looked at each other, unable to believe that they could survive this blow. Finally, everyone's eyes focused on a floating jade pendant in front of Leng Yanren. A jade pendant with no discernible grade and only the word, Leng, on it, exuding gleaming light, was suspended in front of Leng Yanren. This is the jade pendant given by Master. Leng Yanren herself was a little confused. She thought she was going to die and would no longer be able to repay her teacher's kindness. But I didn't expect that the jade pendant given by the Master, which can freely enter and exit the Tiandao Palace, would have such a strange effect. Defensive magic weapon. The elder of Luo Tianzong in the air couldn't help but frown slightly, and he didn't expect that Leng Yanren actually had such a defensive magic weapon that could block the attack of the 9th layer expert. But even so, he didn't take it seriously. This kind of magic weapon consumes a lot of money. Even if you can block it for a while, you won't be able to hold on for long. Later, as long as everyone in the Leng family is destroyed, he can still pocket this magic weapon. It's a happy event. The magic weapon that can block his full blow must be at least a Zon-level magic weapon, which is priceless. At this time, in the Zuwu Mountain, there was a small pavilion in front of the Tiandao Palace. Chen Daoshuan was drinking tea leisurely, waiting for his disciple to return. But suddenly his brows furrowed, and the system prompt message sounded in his mind. A life-threatening attack on the host's disciple is detected. Spending 100 system points, you can perform a move from a distance body strength. Spending 1000 system points, you can descend to the main body for 10 minutes. You will return safely to the Temple of Heaven if you die or the time expires. You may give up and ask the host to choose. At the same time, a picture formed by a water mirror appeared outside the pavilion, revealing Leng Yanren's situation in front of Chen Daoshuan. Looking at the picture, although Leng Yanren was not injured, she still looked a little embarrassed. Chen Daoshuan frowned. He finally found a disciple. If he just ignored him and let him die young, it would be a real loss. In the future, he will still count on his disciple Leng Yanren to help him find more talented people to join his sect. Besides, this is his first disciple, how could he let him fall? Moreover, this great disciple of mine is but a succubus. Must be saved. Spend 100 system points. Chen Daoshuan pondered for a moment and decided to first choose 100 system points to take action from the air to resolve the crisis. As the voice fell, he felt that he could launch an attack directly through the water mirror and land on the spot. Heavenly Monument. Chen Daoshuan, who was not sure whether his third-layer Qi condensation realm could rely on the heavenly demon finger to defeat the enemy, decided to directly use the stronger divine ability of the heavenly demon technique. A stone tablet full of ancient atmosphere appeared in the palm of his hand, and Chen Daoshuan gently threw it towards the Luo Tianzong elder in the water mirror. As Chen Daoshuan took action from a distance, Leng Yanren's beautiful eyes widened and she found that the jade pendant in front of her slowly condensed into a water mirror. Through the water mirror, although I couldn't see clearly, I could vaguely see a figure, throwing something casually. Even though the water mirror was full of waves and her face couldn't be seen clearly, she still recognized it. Master, Leng Yanren exclaimed. Seeing the sudden change in the jade pendant, Elder Luo Tianzong in the air felt a little uneasy, and for some reason he felt an urge to escape from this place. But before he had time to react, a small stone tablet appeared out of thin air in the water mirror. With a whoosh sound, the stone tablet appeared directly above the head of the Luo Tianzong elder, locking his aura. What kind of evil method is this? Why can't I move? The elder was horrified to find that as the stone tablet locked onto his aura, he actually lost control of his body. Looking up at the stone tablet, I found that the stone tablet began to grow in size, reaching a height of 3,000 feet, and then stopped changing. A huge shadow shrouded the world. As if the world was completely banned, everyone lost control of their bodies, and even their thoughts began to become dull. Buzz, the stone tablet trembled slightly and then smashed down. Boom, the stone tablet fell to the ground and plunged hundreds of feet into the ground before stopping. As for the figure of the elder, there was no trace of it for a long time. The moment it touched the stone tablet, it turned into ashes. Fortunately, the Leng family's residence is not within the scope of the stone monument, otherwise the Leng family would really cease to exist. What kind of terrifying divine ability is this? After the stone tablet fell to the ground, everyone regained control over their bodies. Everyone feels as if they have walked through the gate of hell, as if they have already half-stepped into the hall of hell. If that blow was aimed at them, no one could stop it. Look at the 3,000-foot stone tablet erected not far from the Leng family's residence. It is completely pitch black and surrounded by evil spirits. On the body of the tablet are carved the fierce looks of the 10 heavenly demons. There are also rows of densely packed inscriptions written in an unknown font. No, more like names. Look, there are new words at the bottom of the monument. Elder Luo Tianzong, Zhong Wanfang, cultivated to the 9th layer realm. With a flash of black light, the elder's message appeared at the bottom of the inscription. I see. It seems that all the records on this 3,000-foot monument are the people who died on this monument. Horrible. No, look, Zhong Wanfang's name is disappearing. Why is this? Hiss. I understand, his strength is not worthy of appearing on the monument, and he will be despised by the monument, so he covered it up. 9th layer of the ruins realm, don't you deserve to leave your name on the monument after your death? Before the monks in the city could recover from the terrifying pressure of the heavenly monument, they were shocked by their own guesses and stretched their chins. A strong man from the 9th layer of the ruins realm is enough to subvert their entire Moro kingdom. But after death, it is not enough to leave a name on the monument. What kind of terrifying existence can this divine ability be? Hundreds of thousands of mortals in the city paid homage in the direction of the heavenly monument, murmuring to themselves, begging God to forgive their sins. Just now, everyone in the entire city felt that they were so close to death for the first time. Including mortals. Yanren, this is. After Cold War came to his senses, he pointed at the monument and asked. Why? Master took action. I didn't expect that the first time I went down the mountain, not only did I use the life-saving means given by my master, but it was not enough. I actually asked my master to take action himself to resolve the crisis. I am really ashamed of my master's cultivation. Leng Yanren stared blankly at the heavenly monument and felt the aura on it. Although it was her first time to see the divine ability of this heavenly monument, she could feel the evil energy on it, which was similar to the chaos heavenly demon she had cultivated. The secret is that they come from the same vein. It must be the more powerful divine ability among the heavenly demon techniques. Here, there is a sentence that I don't know whether to ask or not. Cold War looked at that monument and couldn't come back to his senses for a long time. Finally, he hesitated for a long time and muttered to himself. The head of the family is going to put it bluntly. After this incident, Yanren should reduce unnecessary visits with the Leng family. But the head of the family can rest assured that I will solve the troubles with Luo Tianzong. Hearing Leng Yanren's words, Leng Qing was slightly startled, and then gave two wry smiles. Indeed, the Leng family has become a burden to Leng Yanren, and because of Leng Yanren's specialness, she will attract more and bigger powerful people to covet her in the future, and they cannot keep the Leng family. That's fine. After all, Leng Yanren is not a descendant of his Leng family. What is the realm of the master you speak of? What Cold War is most concerned about at this time is how high Master Leng Yanren's level has reached and whether it is enough to protect her safety. Is this the master's realm? I don't know, but, even if he's not an immortal, he's almost there, right? Leng Yanren was slightly stunned. She didn't have an answer to this question herself, so she could only express her guess. Immortal, that's right. Just by shooting from a distance, you can use such terrifying divine ability. It's no exaggeration to say that he is an immortal. After Cold War was surprised, he actually nodded without any doubt. At this time, Chen Daoshuan, who had not yet dissipated the water mirror, listened to the conversation between the two, and the corners of his mouth twitched. Immortal from the 3rd layer of Qi condensation realm. Yanren, take care of the matter and return to the mountain as soon as possible. Seeing that the crisis had been resolved, Chen Daoshuan didn't want to meddle in the Leng family's affairs anymore. After leaving a few words, he wanted to disperse the water mirror. And the 3,000-foot-high sky steel shrank smaller and smaller following Chen Daoshuan's words, and turned back into a small stone steel less than the size of a palm. With a swish sound, it got back in at the last moment when the water mirror disappeared. Yes, congratulations, Master. Upon seeing this, Leng Yanren quickly knelt down on one knee and saluted to the water mirror. It wasn't until the water mirror dispersed that the jade pendant floating in front of her fell back to her chest. Touching the jade pendant gently, there was still some warmth on it. Not only did the master leave a way to save his life, but he even secretly left such a backup plan. How much did he care about her? When she thought of this, Lang Yanran just wanted to return to Zuwu Mountain as soon as possible and serve her master. I'll leave it to the head of the family to deal with any troubles in the city. I decided to go back to the mountain immediately and think about how to solve Luo Tianzong's next troubles. Lang Yanran looked at the dilapidated Lang family, but she didn't have much trouble in her heart. Instead, she took a longer-term view. Not only did they kill the chief disciple of the Luo Tian sect today, they also killed 2 elders of the Return to Ruins realm. Even the Luo Tian sect would be in great pain and would definitely not let the Lang family go so easily. And she must rise to a higher level before Luo Tianzong punishes her. In the past, it would have been impossible to accomplish things, but it is different now. With Master, nothing is impossible. Go with ease. Luo Tianzong has damaged 2 Ruixi realm experts and will not take action easily until the investigation is clear. Cold War nodded solemnly, and then he and many other Lang family disciples watched Lang Yanran leave in the air. On this day, too many changes occurred for the capital of the Moro Kingdom. Originally, many aristocratic families were waiting for the Lang family to be destroyed so that they could seize the Lang family's resources and industries. But now, all the aristocratic families are dumbfounded. They did not expect that even the powerful Luo Tianzong in the 9th layer of Guishu realm would fall into the hands of the Lang family. Especially the Li family and the Wang family were extremely panicked. In the end, the 2 of them discussed it and decided not to hand over the 50% to the Lang family as previously agreed upon, but instead added a full 10%, handing over 60% of the property. At this time, in the palace, a middle-aged man wearing a luxurious dragon robe and an extraordinary bearing was shocked from ear to ear when he heard the report from his subordinates. As the emperor of the Moro Kingdom, he had no power to resist when facing the powerful 9th layer of the Luotian sect. Who would have thought that the usually inconspicuous Lang family would have such terrifying methods? Especially when he recalled the 3,000-foot monument that appeared out of thin air. Even when he was far away in the palace, he felt as if death was waving to him. Lang Yanran, what kind of adventure could make her so terrifying overnight? Zuwu Mountain, in the small pavilion outside the Tiandao Palace. Chen Daoxuan was slightly startled when he heard the prompt in his mind. Kill Guishu Realm 9th Layer, reward 90 system points. Previously, the reward for killing Universal Truth Realm was only 1 point. It seems that in the Return to Ruins realm, there should be a 10 system point reward for every 1st layer level. Based on this, the shot that consumed 100 system points just now has almost paid back. Originally, one shot cost 100 system points. He was still a little distressed, but for the sake of his only disciple, he couldn't ignore it. But now, after calculation, it only cost 10 points, and I felt a lot more comfortable. View system points. System point. 2,164. How come there are more system points? Chen Daoxuan was a little confused, and then checked the system point acquisition record. The host's eldest disciple Lang Yanran killed the 7th layer Tian of Guishu realm and obtained 70 system points. The host's top disciple, Lang Yanran, killed Universal Truth realm 4th layer Tian and obtained 4 system points. I see, it seems that the enemies that the disciple kills will also gain system points. Then this wave, no losses but profits. Well, it just so happens that Yanran has formed a relationship with Luo Tianzong now. After she returns to the mountain, find an opportunity to arrange for her to deal with Luo Tianzong. Going to get rich. As he thought about it, Chen Daoxuan's eyes became brighter and brighter. In his mind, Luo Tianzong had become a treasure house of system points. She has clearly made up her mind and plans to wait for the right time to let Yanran go down the mountain to harvest the big leak of Luo Tianzong. He can't kill innocent people for system points, but if they are enemies, hey. It's just that the 9th layer heaven in the Return to Ruins realm seems quite weak. Recalling the scene just now, Chen Daoxuan was a little confused. Although he knew that his Qi condensation realm, 3rd layer, was extremely powerful, he did not have an accurate expectation. For this reason, when he took action just now, he had planned to exchange for 2 more chances to kill his opponent if he couldn't kill him in 1 hit. Unexpectedly, With just one blow, the powerful man from the 9th layer of the returned ruins realm turned into dust. Simply, too weak. Fortunately, no one knew about this idea, otherwise someone would have shouted, "Monster!" Even if you are in the 3rd layer of the Qi condensation realm, you can instantly kill the strong man in the 9th layer of the return to ruins realm, but you still despise them for being weak. Is this someone else's problem? This guy is obviously too strong. Without any disciples around, I have to make tea by myself, hey. Chen Daoshuan couldn't figure it out and simply stopped thinking about it. He poured himself another cup of enlightenment tea and continued to drink it leisurely. At the same time, I miss my succubus disciple a little. If Yanran is here, I don't need to make tea by myself, and it will still be pleasant to the eyes. In the Luotian sect's main hall, the sect leader sat on the throne, with several elders standing on both sides. Except for the sect leader Luo Wu, whose perfected being is in the 5th layer of the realm of annihilation, the other elders are at the lowest level in the Guishu realm. It can be regarded as the top first-class force in this northern region. Among the many immortal cultivating forces in the northern territory, including the Luo Tian sect, there are only 4 first-class forces with strong men in the annihilation realm. Sect Master, there are only less than 3 months left before the secret realm of Qian Valley is opened once every 100 years. Why hasn't the chief returned yet? If the opening of the secret realm is delayed, then... An elder frowned slightly, extremely dissatisfied with the fact that the chief disciple Zhang Tian's came down the mountain at this critical moment when the secret realm was about to open. If the matter of the secret realm is delayed and there is no chief disciple to lead the team, what huge losses will their Luo Tian sect suffer? Without the chief disciple in the secret realm, Luotian sect would have no qualifications to compete with the other 3 sects for resources. Don't worry, Tianer won't delay such an important matter. This time Tianer came down from the mountain because of this matter. Tianer discovered that in a small family in Moro, there is a woman with a special physique. If she can cultivate with her, her realm will be greatly improved. As long as Tianer returns, he might be able to join the secret realm in the universal truth realm 7th layer heaven, or even the 8th layer heaven. This secret realm will also be a great victory for our Luo Tian sect. Luo Wu perfected being heard the elder's dissatisfied words and chuckled to comfort him. He was fully aware of Zhang Tian's purpose of going down the mountain, and even arranged for 2 elders from the returned ruins realm to follow him to ensure that nothing went wrong. As long as everything goes well, this secret realm is an opportunity for Luo Tian sect to completely surpass other sects and become the #1 force in the northern territory. Hiss, that's it. In this case, I won't worry about it anymore. When many elders heard this, they immediately took a breath and a light flashed in their eyes. The strength of the chief disciples of the 4 major sects is among the best. If Zhang Tian's can temporarily break through a few smaller realms, he will be able to crush them in the secret realm. When I think that Luo Tianzong is about to harvest a lot of resources in the secret realm, and also have the opportunity to kill other sect geniuses in the secret realm. Many elders couldn't help but get excited. But just at this moment, a figure stumbled into the hall. Zong, sect leader, something bad has happened. The disciple looked horrified. He didn't even have time to cross the threshold of the hall before he tripped and fell to the ground. It's not appropriate to act in a panic. Don't lose your manners in front of the sect master. Calm down first before talking. One of the elders was the disciple's master. When he saw his disciple showing such a posture, he immediately felt that he had lost face in front of many fellow disciples. Even if it is a scolding. After hearing what the master said, the disciple could only swallow a few mouthfuls of foam and force himself to calm down. Tell me, what happened? Why are you so panicked? Sect leader Luo Wu perfected being saw that the disciple had calmed down a lot, so he asked calmly. Report to the sect master. Senior brother Zhang's life card is broken. The disciple did not dare to look directly into the eyes of the sect master, lowered his head, and spoke tremblingly. Senior brother Zhang, which disciple named Zhang has his life card broken? Send someone to investigate and find out who attacked our Luotian sect disciples. Just get rid of them. Luo Wu perfected being felt no emotion after hearing this. For practitioners, life and death are common matters. It's just a disciple who dies. helping him take revenge and letting outsiders know the consequences of taking action against Luo Tian's disciples. Broken. The broken life card belongs to senior brother Zhang Tian's. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. What did you say? What? Zhang Tian's fate card, is broken. Click. When Luo Wu perfect being heard this, he was stunned for a moment. The armrest of the main seat turned into crumbs in his hands. His whole aura almost lost control. The terrifying pressure of the Nirvana realm burst out, overwhelming many elders present. I couldn't help but bend my waist slightly to resist. And the disciple who came to report was now pressed so hard that his whole body was pressed against the ground. He couldn't even move a finger. He looked like he would not be able to survive if he continued like this. Metropolitan. Seeing that his disciple was dying, an elder quickly shouted. This sound also brought Luo Wu perfected being, who had lost control of his coercion, back from his gaffe. The whole person's aura quickly became restrained, and many elders were relieved, and the disciple was lying on the ground breathing heavily as if he had just escaped from death. No, this sect leader also sent the 7th elder and the 3rd elder to accompany Tian'er to the Moro kingdom. How could an accident happen? Luo Wu perfected being suddenly remembered something and couldn't help but frown. It is said that in the capital of Moro kingdom, the only strong person in the Guishu realm is the emperor, and he is only in the 4th layer of Guishu realm. Whether it is the 3rd elder or the 7th elder, they can easily suppress it. How could Tian'er have an accident in Moro? Sect Master. The life cards of the 3rd elder and the 7th elder are also broken. The time when the 3 life cards were broken was not long apart. I'm afraid it was the work of one person. The disciple heard the sect leader's words and added tremblingly. Fart. The 3rd elder is now in the 9th layer of the ruins realm. He is one step away from breaking through the Nirvana realm. How could he fall into the Moro kingdom? After hearing this, Luo Wu perfected being suddenly became furious. The loss of Zhang Tian's, the chief disciple, was already a painful price that he could not accept. If he lost 2 more elders of the Guishu realm, and even one of them was the 3rd elder of the 9th layer of the Guishu realm, he felt like he was about to vomit blood. In the Moro kingdom, the strongest person is only Guishu 4th layer heaven. How could such a small place allow Luo Tian sect to suffer such a big loss? Disciple. Everything the disciple said is true. The disciple felt the anger of the sect master and was so frightened that he buried his head lower. However, it was a fact that the 2 elders and the chief's life cards were broken. What else could he do except report the truth truthfully? You go down first. Don't make this matter public. Luo Wu perfected being was silent for a long time, and finally waved his hand to the disciple, screened him away, and then glanced at the many elders present. Everyone felt the sect leader's gaze and lowered their heads in fear. They knew that the sect leader might be really angry this time. 2 elders were lost, plus the chief disciple Zhang Tian's, before the secret realm was opened. Now even if we want to temporarily find someone to take Zhang Tian's place, it's too late. 2nd elder, you go to the Moro kingdom and investigate who killed Tian'er and the 2 elders. I, Luo Wu perfected being, will definitely break this person into pieces. In addition, if our sect suffered such a fate in the Moro kingdom, the emperor of the Moro kingdom cannot escape the responsibility and punish him. If he doesn't understand, Luo Wu perfected being finally laid his eyes on the 2nd elder and gave the order in a cold tone. The murderous intent was evident in his words, and he gritted his teeth, wishing to kill the thief immediately. Yes, I will do it now. The 2nd elder bowed quickly and hurriedly exited the hall, heading towards the Moro kingdom. Don't make any announcement about this matter for the time being. This sect leader will make further plans for the secret realm. You all should step aside. After the 2nd elder left, Luo Wu left a few words, then stood up and left the scene. Only a group of elders were left looking at each other, sighing, and dispersed. One day later, an eye-catching figure quickly shuttled through the void mountain, with its plump and round figure rising and falling. Why don't these ferocious beasts in the mountain of illusion attack me this time? Leng Yanren was a little confused. The last time she entered the void mountain, these ferocious beasts would rush forward to fight as soon as they saw her and the 3 killers. But this time, those ferocious beasts seemed to be avoiding her. No, that wasn't right. When going down the mountain, I didn't seem to be harassed by any ferocious beasts. At that time, I was in a hurry to get back to Leng's house, but I didn't take this detail to heart. Now that I think about it, it's a bit strange. Thinking of this, Leng Yanren couldn't help but pause slightly. She sensed the aura of a ferocious beast. Not only did she not go around, but she chased after it. After a moment, a ferocious tiger beast that was 7 or 8 meters tall appeared in front of him. But after the tiger just glanced at her, as if he saw something terrifying, he immediately turned around and ran for his life. Then Tiger King at least has the strength of the universal truth realm. Why is he so afraid of me? Could it be? Leng Yanren suddenly thought of something and looked down at the jade pendant given to her by her master on her chest. The only possibility is because of this jade pendant given by master. However, after confirming that the ferocious beasts were indeed avoiding her, Leng Yanren sprinted towards the Tiandao Palace again, and she no longer needed to be wary of the ferocious beasts' attacks, which made her feel much more relaxed. It wasn't until Leng Yanren left half of the time that the ferocious Tiger King of the Universal Truth Realm breathed a long sigh of relief and looked at the direction she was leaving happily. Why does she have the aura of that temple? Can't afford to offend, can't afford to offend. The ferocious beasts in this false mountain all know about the temple halfway up the mountain. The instinct of the ferocious beasts makes them dare not approach within 10 miles of the temple. It was as if there was an ancient giant monster sitting in the temple. Just looking at the temple from a distance made these ferocious beasts crawl on the ground and tremble. Now that Leng Yanren carries the aura of the temple, these ferocious beasts naturally avoid her. Not to mention taking the initiative to provoke him, it was too late to hide. Leng Yanren, who was much faster, returned to the vicinity of the temple in a short time. Seeing the figure sitting quietly in the small pavilion, she felt that the grievance she had hidden in her heart could no longer be stopped. Just like a child who was bullied, endured the grievance, and came home to see the elders in the family, his nose was sore and his eyes were red. Came back. Chen Daoshuan naturally noticed his disciple's return, smiled lightly and waved to him, indicating that he should come and sit down before talking. Master. Leng Yanren felt ashamed when she thought that when she went down the mountain this time, she not only caused trouble, used the life-saving trump card given by her master, and even let her master save her in person in the end. She thought that master would severely punish her when she returned to the mountains, but she didn't expect that master would just smile so gently and quietly let her sit down. Not even a word of punishment. Originally, in Leng Yanren's mind, all male creatures were the same. Wouldn't they all be attracted to her unconsciously just by looking at her? But the master was completely different. He was so kind to her, and he didn't make any demands on her. What kind of virtues and abilities does she, Leng Yanren, have in her previous life? Did she get such a good master because she created all living beings in her previous life? Why are you just standing there? Come sit down and tell me what happened this time. Seeing her standing there blankly, Chen Daoshuan couldn't help but speak again. Yes, master. After hearing this, she quickly stepped forward and came to the small pavilion. Seeing that the tea in master's cup had reached the bottom, he first respectfully picked up the teapot and refilled the tea for master, and then sat down opposite him honestly. Being bullied, Chen Daoshuan was quite satisfied when he saw this. His disciple was sensible and not bad. After taking a sip of tea, he asked softly. But this concern became the last straw that overcame Leng Yanren's grievance. Why did she have to be killed by the elders who supported her after she killed the chief disciple of Luo Tian's sect in order to protect herself? Why should she worry about Luo Tianzong's revenge on her after she had no choice but to resist? If she had no family, no sect, and no master to support her, wouldn't she be reduced to Zhang Tian's furnace? Thinking of this, Leng Yanren's originally red eyes suddenly sparkled and fell down her beautiful face. In the past, no one cared about her. She usually relied on herself to survive among many talented people, trying every means to protect her innocence. But now, there is someone who can care about her and protect her. Master, apprentice. Leng Yanren choked with sobs and wanted to express her grievances and feelings towards her master. But before she could continue, she saw the master standing up, hugging her in his arms, and patting her back gently. It's okay. Your teacher will support you from now on. You can cry if you want. Once you cry, you will never feel wronged again. Chen Dao. No need to think about it. He also knew that his disciple must have many suppressed emotions in his heart. The beauty in his arms was sobbing, but he didn't have any evil thoughts at this time. He just wanted to let the grievances in his disciple's heart go away. Lang Yanren couldn't bear it anymore and lay in her master's arms to vent all her grievances over the years. After a long time, Lang Yanren raised her head from her master's arms in embarrassment. I saw that the clothes on master's chest were soaked with her tears. Disciple lost his temper. She lowered her head and blushed, not daring to look at the master. Thinking about her ugly appearance just now, Lang Yanren wanted to find a crack in the ground to crawl in. After going down the mountain for the second time, as soon as I came back, I cried loudly to the master. What is this? Lang Yanren, how could you be so arrogant in front of master? It doesn't matter. Can you let go of the grievance in your heart? Chen Daoshuan chuckled disapprovingly and ruffled her hair. After the farce just now, Chen Daoshuan felt that the relationship between the two had become much closer, and they were no longer as reserved as before. Disciple is doing much better. Master. Can you let this disciple go? Lang Yanren immediately blushed and said that she was fine. However, although the master's embrace was broad and warm, Lang Yanren always felt a little shy at this moment. Feeling the hands on her waist and the strong arms, Lang Yanren felt that she could no longer hold on. How great it would be if this innate charm could also have an effect on the master. For a moment, Lang Yanren's thoughts were wandering and she didn't know where to go. Sit down and tell the teacher about the process of this trip. After hearing this, Chen Daoshuan reacted, quickly retracted the hand on his waist, and sat back in his seat. Feeling the master's slender fingers gliding across her waist, Lang Yanren couldn't help but feel a little hot and itchy. However, he still sat down opposite the master honestly. He began to tell master about his journey down the mountain and his experiences. Chen Daoshuan, on the other hand, was drinking tea leisurely and listening to his disciple's story calmly. At the same time, you can also enjoy the treatment of disciples pouring tea and water, and it is extremely pleasing to the eye. But suddenly, with a word, the teacup that Chen Daoshuan was holding froze in place, and his whole face turned dark. If you want the horse to run, you have to give it grass. Then which sect does Chief Lao Shizi come from? Chen Daoshuan's face was gloomy. He didn't even bother to taste the tea in the cup, and put it back on the stone table with a bang. How dare you say such dirty words to his disciples? Even he, who is a master, he is not willing to let go. How dare that guy? Reporting to master, Zhang Tian's is the chief disciple of Luo Tianzong. He is a disciple of Luo Tianzong, the leader of Luo Wu perfected being. As for Luo Wu's perfected being's cultivation, it is said that he is already at the 5th level of nirvana. Lang Yanren also didn't expect that the master's face would suddenly change because of these words. Although she was furious at Zhang Tian's words at the time, her anger dissipated after killing him. Is it Zhang Tian's who can feed her? He deserves it too. Needless to say, I don't want to know about the realm of perfected being, so I don't need to know. Chen Daoshuan raised his hand to interrupt Lang Yanren, who continued to talk about Luo Tianzong's intelligence information. Originally, he was thinking that Lang Yanren had formed a relationship with that sect, and if there was a chance, he could harvest a wave of system points. But when he thought about how his disciples didn't suffer any big losses this time, but all the people from the other side were dying, he couldn't bear to directly destroy his sect. But now, since Luo Tianzong is so seeking death, no wonder he is cruel. After all, cultivators are supposed to prey on the weak and the strong. Even if the sect is destroyed, they can only blame themselves for being too weak. Contact the Lang family to spread the news, and in half a month, let Luo Tianzong welcome the family to be exterminated. Those who quit Luotian sect will be spared their lives. Those who have not quitted Luotian sect will be killed without mercy. After Chen Daoshuan took a long breath, he gave instructions to Lang Yanren in a calm tone. Although Chen Daoshuan's tone was very calm, when these words fell into Lang Yanren's ears, her eyes suddenly froze. Luo Tian sect is one of the 4 major sects in the northern region, and its sect leader is a strong man in the Nirvana realm. As long as Luo Tianzong says a word, not to mention the Lang family, even the Moro kingdom will be destroyed in an instant. But despite being such a powerful force, it seemed like child's play in master's eyes. Just one sentence determined Luo Tianzong's death date. As for whether master can wipe out the Luotian sect, she has no doubt at all. In her heart, the various miracles performed by the master are probably not much different from the immortal realm world. In the eyes of master, the mere Luo Tian sect is probably nothing more than a group of ants. In the nirvana realm, they are nothing more than bigger ants. Disciple accepts the order and will inform the Lang family to spread the news. Lang Yanren was surprised and quickly agreed. And I was quite moved by master's decision to destroy the Luo Tian sect. How could a force like the Luo Tian sect be able to enter the master's eyes? The reason why he wants to exterminate his family is not to support himself in making the decision. With a master like this, you will have no regrets even if you die. Without delay, Lang Yanren took out a sound transmission jade pendant from her arms and informed the head of the family, Cold War. Then he helped master make tea and sat quietly for a while. You're tired after all this, so take a good rest for a day. Teacher, I will show you something good. Chen Daoshuan thought for a while and realized that this half-month can be used to help Yanren improve her strength. When Gigi stood up and walked towards the main hall, Lang Yanren quickly followed behind, following the master. I can't help but feel a little curious in my heart, what is the good thing that master said? After entering the Tiandao Palace, Chen Daoshuan walked towards a closed room. Walking closer, with a slight wave, the door opened automatically, and a puff of water vapor filled the air, and the inside was filled with smoke, making it difficult to see the scene. Although Lang Yanren was curious, she did not dare to lose her etiquette in front of the master. When Chen Daoshuan slowly walked into it, she quickly followed. After entering the palace, Lang Yanren saw the scene and layout clearly. A large pool was filled with water, but the water was a little special, as if the spiritual energy was extremely rich. Originally, within the scope of Tiandao Palace, the spiritual energy was already extremely rich, and it would not be an exaggeration to call it a holy land for cultivation. But in this room, the spiritual energy was so rich that Lang Yanren couldn't accept it. Just by breathing, she could feel a large amount of spiritual energy entering her body. If she practiced here, one day would be as good as the outside world for more than 100 days. Master, this water. No, this is not water. Is this because the spiritual energy is too strong and has condensed into a liquid state? Lang Yanren originally wanted to ask her master what kind of magic weapon this water was. But he suddenly realized, what kind of water is this? It is clearly too rich and liquid spiritual energy. Even if you just fill a small bottle and put it outside, it can be sold for a sky-high price. How much is such a large pool of liquid spiritual energy worth? Yes, this is exactly what aura is formed from. After you came down from the mountain, you had nothing to do as a teacher, so I thought of setting up a spirit gathering array and preparing a training room for you. That's right, I may have used too much force. After the spirit gathering array was deployed, the spiritual energy in the room began to turn into a liquid state, so I could only transform it into a hot spring. Seeing his disciple's surprised reaction, Chen Daoshuan explained awkwardly. He also didn't expect that the spirit gathering array he set up casually would have such an outrageous effect. It was obviously just the most basic formation that was exchanged for one system point in the system mall. In the end, this effect can only be attributed to the fact that he is too invincible within the scope of the Tiandao Palace. Is it just a basic formation that master casually laid out? Lang Yanren's red lips parted slightly. Even though she knew how powerful her master was, she was still shocked again and again. After all, these operations are far beyond her knowledge of the world. Do not mind the details. Although the training room has not been built, this hot spring is very helpful for training. By the way, just wait a moment and I'll add some ingredients to it for you. Chen Daoshuan touched his nose and felt a little embarrassed that he didn't even have a training room. But as long as it can increase the speed of cultivation, who says that a hot spring cannot be considered a cultivation room? With a wave of his hand in the air, he picked a handful of fresh enlightenment tea leaves. Before Lang Yanren could figure out why the teacher suddenly took out the tea leaves and planned to take them over to make tea for her master, she was suddenly stunned. I saw that the precious tea leaves, which can help people enter the state of enlightenment, were thrown into the hot spring pool by the master. Lang Yanran suddenly felt her heart twitching twice. I don't know why, my heart hurts so much. She was reluctant to drink it herself. She only tasted 1 cup before and entered the state of enlightenment. It even improved the realm of first layer. But Master actually threw it into the hot spring pool. Could it be that you want to drink this liquid spirit bubble tea? By the way, that must be the case. Such a large pool of spiritual liquid, combined with enlightenment tea, is enough to drink slowly for several months. By the way, can you take the bottle of marrow cleansing pill that my teacher gave you before? Chen Daoshuan didn't care about this, but asked Yanran. The marrow cleansing pill given by Master is more precious than the immortal pill. I always keep it with me. Lang Yanran quickly answered the Master's words. Well, take one out and throw it into the pool. Chen Daoshuan said indifferently. This marrow cleansing pill can be swallowed directly. If it is blended into the spiritual liquid, there will be no problem in absorbing it when taking a bath. Ah, throw the marrow cleansing pill into the pool. Lang Yanran was stunned by these words. She had taken one of the marrow cleansing pills before and knew how precious it was. Just that marrow cleansing pill, combined with the chaos heavenly demon technique given by her cultivation master, allowed her to break through from the 4th layer to the universal truth realm in less than a day. It even washed away many impurities and filth in her body, greatly improving her aptitude and meridians. It can be said that it is no less precious than enlightenment tea. However, the master has said so, so naturally Lang Yanran will not disobey the master's wishes. Just thinking about where this marrow cleansing pill is stored. Lang Yanran's face turned red with embarrassment. Under Chen Daoshuan's shocked gaze, she reached into her chest wrap and took out the jade bottle containing the marrow cleansing pill. He lowered his head, not daring to look at Master, and handed it to Master with both hands. Hiss, it's still warm. Chapter 21. Chen Daoshuan almost blushed as he watched her take out the jade bottle from her wrapping. Dang even shook his head, throwing away distracting thoughts, constantly reminding himself, she is your disciple. But after taking the jade bottle, Chen Daoshuan only felt a little hot. For a while, thoughts ran through my mind. Master, why are you bleeding? Master, are you okay? Lang Yanran, who had always lowered her head and did not dare to look at the master, turned red with embarrassment, but suddenly she saw a few drops of bright red blood falling on the ground. Lang Yanran was immediately startled, and without caring about anything else, she raised her head and asked quickly with concern. It's okay, I drank too much enlightenment tea and got a little angry. Only then did Chen Daoshuan come to his senses. He raised his hand to wipe his nosebleed pretending to be calm, suppressing the heat in his body with a thought. I see. It seems that although this enlightenment tea is a sacred item, you can't drink too much of it. With the strength of an immortal like Master, his nose will bleed from drinking. No wonder Master brewed the enlightenment tea into such a big pond to dilute it, right? Master is indeed a careful person. Lang Yanran didn't have the slightest doubt about Master's words, and she even felt sorry for Master's action of soaking the enlightenment tea into the spiritual pond. If Chen Daoshuan knew what he was thinking, he wouldn't know what the difference would be. This apprentice is sensible. After Chen Daoshuan coughed twice to relieve his embarrassment, he stopped explaining too much and opened the milk-scented jade bottle in his hand, and a strong red fragrance suddenly overflowed. He took out a marrow cleansing pill and threw it into the spiritual pond, then capped the jade bottle and handed it to Lang Yanran. After Lang Yanran took it, he hesitated for a moment, and then put the jade bottle back in its place in front of him. What are you doing? Chen Daoshuan couldn't help but be dumbfounded. His disciple's method of storing pills was quite unique. Reporting to Master, the pills given by Master are too precious. Only in this way can the disciples rest assured. Lang Yanran was afraid that the master would misunderstand something, so she quickly explained. That's it. That's all, as long as you're happy. Now the enlightenment tea and the marrow cleansing pill are added to this spiritual liquid. Go down quickly and take a good soak to absorb the essence. It will definitely improve your level a lot. Chen Daoshuan nodded slightly, but he couldn't help but think in his heart, what if he would reward her with a few more bottles of pills in the future? Can it be installed? But my disciple is indeed not small, so he should be able to install a lot. Ah, isn't it for drinking? Master wants his disciples to take a bath in this spiritual pool. Unexpectedly, when Lang Yanran heard his words, she was startled and opened her mouth in disbelief. Her cute appearance did not match her figure at all. This pool of spiritual liquid alone is already a priceless treasure. It also contains a divine object that can make people realize enlightenment, enlightenment tea. There is also a marrow cleansing pill given by Master. Nowadays, it is no exaggeration to say that this pool of spiritual liquid is the most precious treasure of heaven and earth in the world. But the Master didn't let her drink it, but let her take a bath directly. Isn't this a bit too extravagant? For drink? Of course not. If you use such a big pool for drinking, it will strangle people to death. Anyway, we absorb it, whether we use it to drink or soak it, what's the difference? How could you have such an outrageous idea? Chen Daoxuan couldn't help but be startled when he heard his disciple's words. How could such a large pool of spiritual liquid be used for drinking? The two of them looked at me and I looked at you, both feeling a little confused as to what the other was thinking. Lang Yanren was speechless. Is her idea outrageous? Now if a small bottle is taken out of this spiritual pool and brought to the outside world, it will probably be enough for the strong men from the ruins realm and even the nirvana realm to rob it, right? Whose idea is more outrageous about using such precious spiritual liquid for bathing? Don't be stunned, get down quickly. Chen Daoxuan was too lazy to dwell on this issue anymore and simply urged him directly. Seeing the Master's persistence, Lang Yanren naturally did not dare to put forward any further opinions. When I walked to the spiritual pool, I didn't mind that the Master was still standing not far behind me, so I took off my shoes and socks, carefully touched the spiritual liquid with my crystal clear toes, and then stepped into the spiritual pool. Master, please step aside for a moment. It would be best if you don't wear clothes when taking a bath. You should concentrate on your training. Chen Daoxuan nodded with satisfaction upon seeing this, turned around and left, and helped him close the palace door. When Lang Yanren saw her master leaving, and then remembered her master's reminder, she took off her clothes and placed them by the pool, and then carefully put down the jade bottle containing the marrow cleansing pill. But I don't know why a little bit of disappointment arose in my heart. If Master doesn't leave, it seems like there's nothing bad to do. As I thought about it, my face felt a little hot. Lang Yanren, how could you have such thoughts about Master? This is so disrespectful. After coming back to his senses, he quickly shook his head, shook away his distracting thoughts, and slowly walked towards the center of the pool. The moment she stepped into the pool, Lang Yanren felt a sense of relief all over her body, like the warmth of being in the Master's arms. No, it was not as comfortable as being in the Master's arms. He walked to the center of the pool, slowly sat down cross-legged, and soaked his entire body in the spiritual fluid, except for half of his neck and head. Even before she started practicing, the spiritual liquid was constantly flushing her pores. Under the action of the marrow cleansing pill, some microscopic impurities were washed out of the body. Feeling the heaven-defying effect of the spiritual liquid, she did not dare to delay any longer, and quickly activated the Chaos Heavenly Demon technique and began to practice with concentration. Within a moment, the whole person's expression completely calmed down, his face was extremely comfortable and peaceful, and he had entered the state of enlightenment without even realizing it. And this is naturally the result of Chen Daoxuan's sprinkling of enlightenment tea just now. Along with her practice, a large amount of spiritual energy quickly condensed into her sea of energy. The spiritual energy, which was already pure and liquid, could be absorbed without any difficulty. Lang Yanren Universal Truth Realm Second Layer Tian's Realm bottleneck also began to loosen slowly. Tisk, it's too dangerous to have a succubus as your apprentice. I don't know if Yanren made any mistakes while practicing. How about, take a look. Chen Daoxuan couldn't help but secretly smacked his tongue when he thought of the scene that made him nosebleed just now. As for within the scope of this Tiandao Palace, he is an omnipotent existence. If you want to see it at this time, you can know the picture with just a thought. No, I, Chen Daoxuan, am a serious master. How could I do something like peeking at my disciples? After a while, Chen Daoxuan, who was sitting in the small pavilion on the middle grade and tasting Taoist tea, raised his hand again to wipe his nosebleed. Hey, this enlightenment tea is really a great tonic. I just took a few sips and I got angry again. Chen Daoxuan thought about it, and after cleaning up the blood stains, he didn't forget to mutter, not knowing who he was lying to. Hearing this, the Wu Dao tea beside the small pavilion swayed for a while, as if shaking its head to express that it didn't get angry at all and that it couldn't be blamed for this. It is enlightenment tea, but the high grade in the innate spiritual root is such a divine thing, how can it get angry? Are you kidding me? Feeling the movement of Wu Dao tea, Chen Daoshuan couldn't help but glance over. The rustling enlightenment tea suddenly stopped swaying, like a child who made a mistake. For some reason, some grievances could still be seen faintly. But it finally quieted down. At the same time, there was no peace in the capital of the Moro kingdom. At the Lang family's residence, Cold War naturally received a message from Lang Yanren. Spread the news that in half a month, all those who have not quit the Luotian sect will be killed without mercy, so that the Luotian sect will welcome the annihilation of the family. Cold War's first reaction after receiving the news was, is Lang Yanren crazy? Luo Tianzong's status in the hearts of these people is simply a giant existence. Even His Majesty the Emperor of Moro Kingdom could only bow his head in front of Luo Tianzong. Not to mention that Niluowu perfected being is a terrifying powerhouse in the annihilation realm. There are at least about 10 elders in the Guishu realm of Luotian sect alone. With such strength, if you want to destroy the Moro kingdom, it only takes one night. Who in the Northern Territory dares to say such arrogant words about destroying the entire Luotian sect? Even if the other 3 top sects don't join forces, they probably won't be able to do it. So Cold War immediately summoned several Universal Truth Realm elders from the Lang family and gathered in the lobby to discuss it. What do you think? Cold War glanced around and found that everyone present still had scars from the battle the day before, and couldn't help but sigh to himself. Master, this matter should not be taken lightly. It is likely to arouse the anger of Luo Tianzong. One of the old men spoke first. After hearing this, others nodded in agreement. Besides, even if Lang Yanren gets some opportunities, it is impossible to destroy such a giant as Luo Tianzong. In my opinion, it's better to forget about this matter. Seeing that everyone agreed with his point of view, the elder immediately became more confident and continued to speak. After all, he was still afraid of bearing Luo Tianzong's wrath, and most of the people present had the same thought as him. Haha, do you think that after the battle the day before yesterday, Luo Tianzong will let my Lang family go? The chief disciple died under Yanren's sword, and 2 elders from the Ruins realm also died, and these were seen by many families in the capital. The news cannot be hidden. Even if my Lang family doesn't help Yanren spread this news, wouldn't Luo Tianzong be angry with my Lang family? Do you believe it or not, Luo Tianzong may have already sent people to the capital to investigate. In my opinion, it's better to spread the news as Yanren said. But after listening to what everyone said, Cold War couldn't help but shake his head and smile bitterly, looking at everyone with a sarcastic look on his face. Luo Tianzong's losses were so huge, how could they easily overcome them? When the time comes to send people to the capital of the Moro kingdom, they don't even need to investigate. Just ask anyone and you can learn about the situation of the battle the day before yesterday. By then, how can the Lang family escape being punished? In this case, it is better to spread the news as Yanren said, and maybe buy some time for the Lang family. If Yanren really created a miracle half a month later, the crisis would naturally dissipate. If Yanren fails to succeed, then the Lang family will probably be doomed. When everyone heard what Cold War said, they immediately looked at each other, but they also knew that this was a fact and could not be refuted. In that case, everyone, let's take action. This news may give my Lang family a chance to survive. Cold War saw this and said no more. After ordering everyone to take action, he sighed and stood up to leave. I don't know if Yanren's mysterious master will help. If that lord takes action, it seems that it is not impossible to destroy the Luo Tian sect. After leaving the lobby, Cold War couldn't help but think of the attack that appeared in Yanren's jade pendant that day. The heavenly monument that covered the sky and blocked out the sun and filled the body with evil energy turned the strong men of the Luotian sect in the 9th layer of Guishu realm into dust in just an instant. If that adult had taken action, the outcome would have been really hard to say. Presumably, Yanren has already made arrangements in her heart. Cold War left with his hands behind his hands, and no longer thought about the matter. After all, even if he thought about it to his death, this matter was not something he could handle with his strength. The Lang family did not hesitate any longer and spread the news through various industries of the Lang family in the capital. In less than a day, everyone in the entire capital knew the news. Even mortals who have not cultivated are talking about the fact that Luo Tianzong will be exterminated in half a month. In the magnificent palace, the emperor of the Moro kingdom couldn't help but be stunned when he heard the news reported by his subordinates. You mean, this news came from the Lang family? Reporting to your majesty, although the news did not come directly from the Lang family, the source was the Lang family's shops in the city. Oh, it's interesting. In half a month, the Luo Tian sect will be wiped out. A glimmer of expectation flashed in the emperor's eyes. Over the years, the Moro kingdom has been oppressed by the Luotian sect. Every year, it has to hand over a large amount of resources. To put it bluntly, it is protection money. A few days ago, the chief of Luo Tianzong came to the capital and acted wantonly. His Majesty, the Emperor of the Moro Kingdom, could only laugh with the elders of Luo Tianzong in the palace. There is no way to interfere with any actions of Chief Luo Tianzong. Lang Yanren, I hope you won't disappoint me. When he thought of the 3,000-foot monument that appeared in the sky that day, he could even recall the fear of being shrouded in death. With Lang Yanren's universal truth realm strength, it would be ridiculous to want to destroy Luo Tianzong, but since she dared to spread this news, presumably, he got the support of the terrifying existence behind him. If the Luotian sect is really destroyed, it will be a great good thing for him, the Emperor of the Moro Kingdom. Just as he was thinking about the future, a figure hurried to him and knelt on the ground. What are you reporting? His Majesty the Emperor of Moro Kingdom lowered his eyebrows and glanced at the visitor and asked. Your Majesty, the second elder of Luo Tianzong has arrived outside the palace gate. After hearing what the guard said, Emperor Wu Feiyang of the Moro Kingdom was stunned for a moment. Immediately he realized that this was a bad person. Luo Tianzong must have learned about the death of the chief and elders. Go and bring people in. Wu Feiyang quickly adjusted his expression and gave instructions to the guards. But before the guards could get up and leave, a figure strutted into the hall. No need. I entered the palace without permission. Please don't blame me, Your Majesty Feiyang. The person who came was none other than the second elder of the Luo Tian sect. He was wearing a Taoist robe, he looked kind-hearted, and he spoke politely. But Wu Feiyang was not so stupid as to think that the other party was really apologizing to him. What did the second elder say? The emperor should greet the elder personally when he comes, but I am rude. While Wu Feiyang was speaking, he waved his hand slightly to his men and dismissed everyone present. People under the eaves have to bow their heads. As long as Luo Tianzong is still there, the emperor of the Moro Kingdom can only obey his orders. After all, who can let himself be less big and tough than others? Of course, I'm talking about fists. Presumably Your Majesty can guess my purpose of coming, right? When the second elder heard what Wu Feiyang said, he just smiled slightly and didn't care. He found a seat and sat down carelessly. It was as if he was the owner of this room. Can you guess a little bit? The elder is here to investigate the murder of the chief disciple and the two elders. After Wu Feiyang finished speaking, the second elder didn't respond. He just looked at him with a smile on his face, as if he wanted to continue talking. As His Majesty the Emperor, he usually had others try to figure out his thoughts, but every time he faced someone from the Luotian sect, he could only carefully guess what he was thinking. This feeling made Wu Feiyang very unhappy, but there was nothing he could do about it. For a moment, I wished that Lang Yanren could attack the Luotian sect half a month in advance today and destroy it, leaving no one alive. But no matter how reluctant he was, he could only smile shyly and tell the second elder exactly what happened in the capital the day before yesterday. At first, the second elder was smiling, but after hearing that Lang Yanren used the divine ability in a jade pendant to kill an elder with one blow, he frowned. Especially at the end, when I heard that the third elder was about to destroy the Lang family, a 3,000-foot sky monument suddenly appeared and killed him instantly. The second elder's expression became even more gloomy at this time. At first, he thought that the two elders encountered other sects or independent cultivator strongmen in the Moro Kingdom, or even strongmen from outside the Northern Territory. He thought of it. But now it seems that it is completely different from his guess. It turned out that an inconspicuous Moro family killed the chief disciple Zhang Tian's, as well as 2 elders of the Guishu realm, and one of them was even an elder from the 9th layer of the Guishu realm. As far as he knew, in the capital of Moro Kingdom, the one with the highest state was Wu Feiyang in front of him, who was at the 5th layer of the Guishu realm. In addition, the so-called 4 major aristocratic families don't even have the return to Ruin's realm. How can we talk about killing 2 elders? The problem lies with the Jade Pendant and Leng Yanren. As for the words of Emperor Wu Feiyang of the Moro Kingdom, he did not have the slightest doubt and would not dare to deceive him even if he thought about it. For a moment, he was a little unsure of what to do. Logically speaking, he could destroy a small aristocratic family in Moro with just a few seconds. But the 3rd elder who was in the 9th layer realm with him fell into the Leng family's tricks. He didn't want to risk his life on whether the Leng family still had such tricks. In your opinion, how powerful is that attack on the Sky Monument? After pondering for a moment, the 2nd elder asked. My strength is low, so I can't tell the exact strength, but it must be the work of a strong person from the 3rd layer of Nirvana. Wu Feiyang pretended to think seriously for a moment and said conclusively. Is it suspected to be the work of a powerful person in the Nirvana realm? It seems that this matter needs to be reported to the sect leader first before making a decision. After the 2nd elder stared at Wu Feiyang's eyes for a moment, he believed what he said and at the same time gave up his plan to take action against the Leng family. If that Nirvana realm powerhouse was still near the capital at this time, even if he could wipe out the Leng family instantly, he himself would still die at the hands of the Nirvana realm powerhouse. After saying that, the 2nd elder stood up and planned to leave. When Wu Feiyang saw this, his eyes flashed. He stood up and stopped him. Your Majesty, what does this mean? 2nd elder, don't get me wrong. I just have some news to tell you. Oh, tell me. Today the Leng family released news that in half a month, Luo Tianzong will be prepared to face the annihilation of the family. Now, the news has spread in the city. I wonder if the elder needs to order someone to block the news so as not to damage the power of Luo Tianzong. Wu Feiyang said with cupped hands, as if he thought of Luo Tianzong wholeheartedly. Haha, the Luotian sect will be destroyed in half a month. What a big statement. There is no need to block the news. As long as he dares to show up, we, Luo Tianzong, will naturally take his head and let the world know the price of opposing me, Luo Tianzong. Snort. The 2nd elder's face was cold. He snorted and left without staying any longer, waving his sleeves. Congratulations to the 2nd elder. Wu Feiyang slightly bowed his hands in the direction of his departure, quite respectfully. It wasn't until he was sure that the 2nd elder had completely left the palace that he put away the respectful expression on his face and returned to his normal look. Haha, there is a good show to watch. I don't know if that person will take action himself. I really want to see what kind of being can use such terrifying divine ability. A trace of amusement flashed in Wu Feiyang's eyes. When he answered the 2nd elder's questions just now, he told the truth in every question, but he lied in only one question. That is the strength of the person who takes action. Nirvana realm to 3rd layer heaven. That blow was terrifying that Wu Feiyang had never seen before. If he really wanted to say it, his judgment would be far beyond what he had done in the Nirvana realm. But if the truth is really told, it is one thing whether the 2nd elder believes it or not. If he believes it and Luo Tianzong gives in, that gentleman gives up on destroying Luo Tianzong, wouldn't he suffer a big loss? This northern region is going to change. Wu Feiyang felt a little uneasy when he thought that there was a mysterious strong man in the northern territory, even a being above the realm of annihilation. After the 2nd elder left the palace, he did not dare to stay at all and went directly in the direction of Luo Tianzong. After all, there may be a mysterious Nirvana realm powerhouse hiding near the capital, and according to the news, he is probably an enemy. For him, the 2nd elder of Luotian sect, it is extremely dangerous. Therefore, he did not even dare to go to Leng's house to take a look at the traces left by the sky monument on the ground, otherwise he and Luo Tianzong might change their minds. Luo Tianzong, Meeting Hall. You mean, someone strong in the annihilation realm will take action? Luo Wu perfected being frowned slightly after hearing the news brought back by the 2nd elder. I really can't figure out how there are powerful people in the Nirvana realm in Moro. And even if you encounter a strong person in the Annihilation realm, as long as you reveal your identity as Luo Tianzong, the opponent will never dare to kill him. Could it be that this person is not from the Northern Territory, but a force who came from other places and wants to join the secret realm in 2 months? Yes, Sect Master, according to what Wu Feiyang said, the person who takes action should have the strength of the 3rd layer of Nirvana. If you weren't a strong person in the Nirvana realm, you wouldn't be able to kill the 3rd child in the 9th layer in the Ruins realm with just one move. I think Wu Feiyang didn't lie. The 2nd elder honestly reported the information he had found out, and expressed his thoughts and judgments. So what if it's the realm of Nirvana? The Luo Tian sect will be destroyed in half a month. It's not a small talk. This sect leader will wait for him for half a month to see who he is. We are in the light and the enemy is in the dark. Don't let us be plotted. The notice will be given for half a month, so that the disciples of the sect should try not to go out unless they have something to do, so as not to be targeted by that person. Luo Wu perfected being snorted coldly. Although he was not completely sure that the person who made the move was the 3rd layer of Nirvana, he was still extremely confident in his own strength. Moreover, in the Luotian sect, he can also rely on the sect's formation. Even if he faces the 6th layer of Nirvana, he can still suppress it. Even if he faces the 7th layer of Nirvana, he can still protect himself. And he already had some guesses in his mind. From Zhang Tian's, he had already learned that the little girl from the Leng family named Leng Yanran had a special physique and was extremely suitable for use as a furnace. Presumably, the person who took action took a fancy to this, so he kept Leng Yanran by his side, and planned to train her to a higher level before using her, so he helped the Leng family take action. But trying to show off your strength by stepping on him, Luo Tianzong, is obviously not a wise approach. Yes, I'll take my leave. Many elders followed the order and left. Luo Wu let out a long breath, frowned and closed his eyes, not knowing what he was thinking about. This time their Luotian sect's chief disciple died suddenly, and even if they sent disciples to enter the secret realm 2 months later, they would not be able to gain much benefit. These days, he has been very worried, and in his heart he has scolded the mysterious Nirvana realm expert who took action countless times. At this time, the mysterious strong man who was remembered by countless people was sleeping comfortably and having sweet dreams. Outside the small pavilion, the Wudao tea tree seemed to have bent down and gathered countless branches together, forming a natural hammock with vines. The person lying on top is naturally Chen Daoshuan. From time to time, Taoist charms emanate from the branches of the Enlightenment tea tree, and the existence of these Taoist charms also makes Chen Daoshuan sleep a little more soundly. But as time passed, as if he was attracted by the Taoist charm of the enlightened tea tree, Chen Daoshuan also had a faint Taoist charm emerging around his body. No, that is not Dao Yun, it is simply the 3000 Great Tao itself. After realizing that the tea tree unconsciously began to tremble slightly, I don't know whether it was excitement or fear. After another moment, the Enlightenment tea tree actually lit up with a burst of light green light and, rumbling, accompanied by a burst of sound, and it actually grew almost twice as tall. Not only did the tree grow taller, it also sprouted many new branches, on which tender new tea leaves slowly bloomed. It understood the Tao of the tea tree, and it actually had an epiphany because of the Tao charm in its owner. Well, am I asleep? Why do you feel that the Enlightenment tea tree has grown a lot? Chen Daoshuan was also awakened by the sudden movement just now. After stepping down from the wicker chair, he rubbed his eyes and yawned. Looking at Wu Dao Chashu, who was obviously much taller, he was also a little confused. As if hearing his doubts, the Enlightenment tea tree stretched out a branch and slowly touched his hand. An idea was passed to his mind through the branches. I just saw the great Dao Yun on the owner, and I had an epiphany. What the hell, can you, an enlightened tea tree, still have an epiphany? After hearing the news, Chen Daoshuan couldn't help but widen his eyes and couldn't help but curse. At the same time, I felt a little sad. Others can achieve enlightenment by drinking enlightenment tea, but they can only taste the enlightenment tea, so forget it. But the enlightened tea tree also achieved enlightenment by observing him. This is so unreasonable. Anyone who co-authored it can achieve enlightenment, even the enlightenment tea tree itself can achieve enlightenment, but he cannot. That's all. Hey, Although there is no need to sleep to replenish energy within the scope of this Tiandao Palace, it is indeed comfortable to have a good sleep. Besides, there's no need to practice, so what else can you do if you don't sleep? I don't know how Yanren's cultivation is going. Chen Daoxuan could only sigh helplessly, lamenting the injustice of fate to him. Even the trees could understand by looking at him, but he himself could not. The Enlightenment tea tree on the side, with its low intelligence, is even more incomprehensible. It is obvious that the owner is already surrounded by 3,000 great Tao. Why is he still persistent and wanting to enlightenment? Isn't the master himself where the Tao lies? It seems that the master's level is too high and it cannot understand it. It should be so. After all, how could someone as powerful as the master make a mistake? Although Chen Daoxuan's own realm is mediocre, he casually kills a 9th-layer heavenly powerhouse in the Return to Ruins realm and a 3rd-layer heavenly powerhouse in the Qi Condensation realm. But within the scope of this heavenly Tao Palace, he is an omnipotent existence, so the Enlightenment tea tree thinks like this. With nothing to do at the moment, Chen Daoxuan simply studied the volume of basic formations exchanged from the system again. During cultivation, time always flies by. In the Temple of Heavenly Tao, the water level of the spiritual liquid pool that enveloped Lang Yanren began to slowly drop as she absorbed it. At first, only half of the neck was exposed. After 2 days of practice, the terrifying absorption ability of the Chaos Heavenly Demon technique has lowered the water level to the chest, and the collarbone is clearly visible. This pool of spiritual liquid is made by combining the mythical marrow cleansing pill and a handful of enlightenment tea leaves. After absorbing so much spiritual liquid, her cultivation level has unknowingly broken through 2 small realms in succession, reaching the universal truth realm 4th layer. And because of the existence of enlightenment tea, she has always been in a state of enlightenment, and her rapid breakthrough did not bring any fundamental hidden dangers. As time passed day by day, Lang Yanren's aura became stronger and stronger. Waves of realm breakthroughs appeared again and again in the palace. Fortunately, no one saw this horrifying scene, otherwise they would have called him a monster. Even the Holy Sun in the Holy Land of Cultivation would never be able to break through like this as easily as drinking water. Almost every 2 days, you can break through the realm of 1st layer. 10 days passed by in a hurry, and the spiritual fluid in the spiritual pool suddenly bottomed out. The remaining spiritual liquid was completely absorbed by Lang Yanren after half an hour. At this point, she slowly opened her eyes. After exhaling a long breath, Lang Yanren felt her own cultivation level, and even she was surprised. In this short period of time, I actually broke through to the universal truth realm 7th layer. But after consuming such a large pool of spiritual liquid, it seems that there is no problem in breaking through 5 realms. After being secretly shocked, she couldn't help but laugh when she looked at the now empty spiritual pool. As everyone knows, if it were not for the Chaos Heavenly Demon technique she practiced, which consumed too much, this pool of spiritual liquid would have been enough for even the Holy Son of the Holy Land who practiced heaven-level techniques to try to attack Guishu from the Universal Truth Realm 2nd layer heaven. The situation is over. After all, it is a Hongmeng-level technique, and its powerful power naturally consumes huge resources. Then she looked at the now empty spiritual pool. Not a drop of the precious spiritual liquid was left, and she frowned slightly. I've used so much of Master's precious spiritual liquid. I'm afraid I will never be able to repay this kindness. From now on, Yanren's life belongs to the Master. If the Master needs it, she can do anything for the Master at any time. Yanren secretly made up her mind, but now that the practice was over, there was no time to be dazed here, so she got up and put on her clothes, went to see her master, and informed her master of the effect of this breakthrough. But just as she stood up, Yanren inadvertently fiddled with her hair, but suddenly froze. Ah! A scream echoed in the hall, and Yanren seemed to be greatly frightened. Chen Daoxuan, who was sleeping at this time, heard the screams from his disciples. Before he even opened his eyes, he thought quickly and appeared in the main hall of the hot spring. What happened? What happened? As soon as Chen Daoxuan appeared, he opened his mouth to ask questions, but before he could finish speaking, his mouth was opened wide by the scene in front of him. Yanren was naked, her hands were touching her head. Oh no, it was the 2 horns growing out of her head. Just now when she was fiddling with her hair, she touched the 2 extra horns that suddenly appeared on her head, and then she screamed in fright. The two looked at each other, and the air became silent for a moment. Ah, master, why did you suddenly break in? Lang Yanren was stiffened for a moment by the master's gaze, and then she exclaimed again. Her whole body quickly became like a cooked prawn. She was blushing because she was too shy, and was extremely hot. Ah, cough, cough, my teacher heard you screaming and thought there was some danger. After you get dressed, come out and talk more about it. Chen Daoshuan could only clear his throat, force himself to calm down, and couldn't help but take a look before disappearing into the hall in a flash. Located in the small pavilion, I wiped away the nosebleed again. Hey, the enlightenment tea is so irritating, so irritating. After hearing this, enlightenment Chashu could only sway a few times aggrievedly, saying that he was not angry at all. The person who was angry was obviously your disciple. In the main hall, after Chen Daoshuan left, it took Lang Yanren a long time to regain her composure. But the neck to the base of the ears was still red and hot due to congestion. Master saw it, and there seems to be nothing wrong with it. Besides, Master suddenly broke in because he was worried about me. And Master's gaze doesn't make me disgusted, on the contrary, it's a bit. Lang Yanren thought about the scene just now, and she felt ashamed and wanted to find a crack in the ground to crawl in. She was too embarrassed to see her master again. Even though she is naturally charming and is sought after by countless men, she has never been seen naked. Finally, after a long time, Lang Yanren put on her clothes, carefully put the jade bottle back into its place, and then left the hall. Like a child who had done something wrong, Lang Yanren walked to the pavilion with her head lowered. He said in a low voice, "Disciple, please see Master." The atmosphere was a little subtle for a moment, and both of them recalled the scene just now in their minds. Well, are there any doubts about this practice? Chen Daoshuan thought of a topic casually and asked. Reporting to Master, all disciples are in the process of enlightenment during this practice. Their minds are clear and there are no doubts. I just consumed such a large pool of spiritual liquid, but only broke through 5 small realms. This disciple is ashamed. After hearing the master's words, Lang Yanren quickly replied. There is no need to belittle yourself. The skills my teacher gave you are Hongmeng level 1s. Although they greatly increase your strength, the resources required for training also increase exponentially. 5 realms are already pretty good. Chen Daoshuan nodded in relief and said that from the system prompts, he had already learned about Lang Yanren's breakthrough. The disciple broke through the 5 minor realms, which also allowed him to gain 500 years of cultivation and 500 system points. The cultivation base is automatically blessed, and now he also has the realm of Qi condensation realm 8th layer heaven. That's it, disciple understands. It's just that 2 horns suddenly grew on this disciple's head. Lang Yanren suddenly realized something, and then she suddenly thought of something, touched her head and asked. No need to worry about this. This is just the Chaos Heavenly Demon technique, which stimulates your potential and improves your physique. You have the charm of innate. If you continue to cultivate, you can become a heavenly demon. Your potential is endless. If you feel that these 2 corners are inappropriate, I can find a way to hide them. Chen Daoshuan looked up and down, and felt that the horns that suddenly grew out perfectly fit Lang Yanren's temperament. This is the real succubus. Then another thought occurred to him and he glanced at Lang Yanren's current information. First disciple, Lang Yanren. Race, demon race. Special physique, heavenly demon elementary. Kung Fu practiced, Chaos Heavenly Demon Ju Part 1. Talent, the best of the holy level. Realm, Universal Truth Realm 7th layer. The original ordinary saint level talent, with the changes in the exercises and the marrow cleansing pill, has suddenly reached the highest level of saint level talent. It will not take long to reach the next level. There is also a column for special physique, which shows the changes in Lang Yanren's current physique. Succubus, Master, do you think this disciple's horns look good? If the Master doesn't like it, he will hide it. If the Master likes it, the disciple will keep it. Lang Yanren blushed and lowered her head, touching her 2 fingers lightly and whispering. Well, keep it, I think this is quite suitable for you. After the Master and apprentice talked for a long time, Lang Yanren started practicing divine ability heavenly demon fingering outside the hall, while Chen Daoshuan sipped tea, slept, and occasionally gave some pointers. Even so, Lang Yanren felt that she had improved a lot. 5 days passed in a flash, and finally came the day that Chen Daoxuan said the Luo Tian sect would be exterminated. Master, half a month is up, what do disciples need to do? Lang Yanren stopped practicing and came to her master, ready to listen to instructions. Not only was he not worried at all about his upcoming trip to Luotian sect, but he was also vaguely looking forward to it. With her current Universal Truth Realm 7th layer strength, it is naturally impossible to destroy behemoths like Luo Tian sect. Even if she can fight across levels, it would be shocking enough to defeat a strong person in the Ruins realm at most. If she faces the Nirvana realm, the gap will be a bit big, and it will be extremely difficult to barely save her life. Therefore, Lang Yanren always believed that the master might be planning to take action personally this time to wipe out the Luo Tian sect. Oh, has it been half a month so soon? In that case, please wait for a moment. Chen Daoxuan was slightly startled, but he did not take the destruction of Luo Tianzong too seriously. However, when he thought about the large number of system points he was about to harvest, he also gained some motivation. The system called out in my heart. System, exchange it for me for 100 jade slips. Exchange for 10 more formation discs. Ding, a total of 200 system points have been spent, jade slips beginner level. Although he spent 200 system points in one go, he didn't feel bad. As long as the Luotian sect can be wiped out, at least a few thousand system points will be earned by then. These 200 system points will help you. Without delay, he first took out 100 jade slips from the system backpack and placed them on the stone table in front of him. Lang Yanren was confused when she saw the master suddenly taking out a pile of jade slips. But master naturally had his own reasons for doing things, so Lang Yanren didn't ask any questions, but just waited quietly and watched. Well, there are 50 heavenly demon fingers and heavenly monuments each, which should be enough. Chen Daoxuan pondered for a moment, and then started to move. Each jade slip contains the full blow of his body, and now his realm has been promoted to the 5th layer, much stronger than before. In addition, within the scope of the Heavenly Dao Palace, Chen Daoxuan did not need to replenish his spiritual energy at all. It didn't take long to divide the 100 jade pendants in front of him into 2 piles, the Heavenly Demon Finger and the Heavenly Steel, each containing 50 pieces. This action stunned Lang Yanren, who was waiting next to her. She had already used the power of the Heavenly Demon Finger before. A strong man in the Ruins realm was as fragile as paper in front of that blow, and his life was lost in just one blow. As for the heavenly monument among the other pile of jade pendants, she had also seen with her own eyes the power of the master when he used it from afar. Return to Ruins realm 9th layer heaven's strong man turned into dust the moment he touched it. Even after death, he was not worthy of leaving his name on the heavenly monument. For a moment, she seemed to understand what her master was thinking. This is to let him directly crush Luo Tianzong with firepower and burn him to the ground. If 50 of those 3,000-foot-high sky monuments were to fall down at once, hiss. I can't even imagine that scene. But the problem is that the leader of Luotian sect, Luo Wu Perfected Being, is a powerful person in the realm of annihilation. Even if she is given so many jade pendants that contain terrifying power, what if she has no chance to use them by then? With the strength of the Nirvana realm, even if he cannot withstand the power of the divine ability in the jade pendant, it is probably not difficult to win over her Universal Truth Realm 7th layer heaven, right? Before Lang Yanren could ask, Chen Daoxuan waved his hand again and placed the 10 array discs in the system space on the stone table. The stone table, which was not too big to begin with, was suddenly filled with jade pendants and array discs. Well, the basic defensive formation seems to be described like this. There is also this formation that can rebound attacks, let's have one too. Moreover, this restriction formation must also be indispensable, otherwise they will suffer a big loss if they escape by then. Spiritual power enhancement formation, here is one, and this one, here is one. For the last array, let's build a teleportation array. If there is no accident, then there is a powerful ancestor hidden in Luotian sect who can withstand the bombing of the jade pendant. Yanren can also use it to save her life. Well, let's set the teleportation location to this false mountain. Even if we don't use it to escape, we will save time and waste of traveling after destroying the Luo Tian sect. Chen Daoxuan muttered to himself while carving out basic formations one after another on the formation plate. It was obviously the most basic formation, but after it was carved in his hands, it was completely different. All the loopholes that originally existed in it were filled. It should be a formation carved with 10 inscriptions, but he used tens of thousands of inscriptions. Fortunately, it was within the scope of the Tiandao Palace, so there was no need to worry about consumption, and there was no difficulty in carving it. 10 inscriptions are yellow level formations, 100 inscriptions are black level formations, 1000 inscriptions are earth level formations, and tens of thousands of inscriptions are heaven level formations. Master has carved heaven level formations in these 10 formation discs. Chen Daoxuan just noticed that there were many loopholes in the basic formation, so he filled them up, and thought that carving more inscriptions would make it more stable and powerful, but he didn't know the meaning of this. But Lang Yanran understood. Looking at the 10 formation discs containing heavenly formations in front of her, she suspected that she was dreaming. With the strength of the Luo Tian sect, I am afraid that the sect protecting formation, also known as the earth level formation, will be great. Even in many holy places, the formations are at most heaven level. But no matter which force it is, if it wants to lay out a high-level formation, it needs to expend countless efforts, find a suitable location for the formation eyes, and consume countless materials before the formation can finally take shape. When using formation discs to depict formations, generally speaking, the highest level is no more than the Zan level. After all, it is easy to carry, but it cannot match the right time, place, and people, nor can it use various heavenly materials and earthly treasures to assist the operation of the formation. If a high-level formation is to be depicted, it is easy for unstable factors to appear between the inscriptions, causing the formation to collapse. I have never heard of such an appalling thing that a formation disc can accommodate heaven-level formations. If someone could do it, wouldn't it be possible to directly rely on these arrays to attack the Holy Land? Take these 100 jade slips and these 10 formation discs with you. When the time comes, remember to use the restrictive formation to surround Luo Tianzong first, and then activate the defensive formation. As for what to do in the end, you can use it freely. After Chen Daoxuan finished everything, he raised his head and gave instructions to Lang Yanran with satisfaction. Chen Daoxuan may not care about others, but now that he has decided to exterminate the Luotian sect, he cannot let anyone go. It's not that I'm afraid of leaving a legacy behind and being threatened in the future, it's mainly that, every kill is a system point. He had even made a plan. If Lang Yanran could not destroy Luo Tianzong with all these, he would bite the bullet and use 1,000 system points to bulldoze Luo Tianzong himself. Disciple knows. It's a pity. I thought I would be lucky enough to see Master take action. Lang Yanran looked at the table of jade pendants and array discs, and she couldn't help but feel a little sympathy for Luo Tianzong. If this firepower covers them, they will all be reduced to rubble, and not even a whole body will be found. Poor, but, haha, if necessary, my master will take action. However, as a teacher, I believe you can handle this low-end game perfectly. Remember, no one can be spared, even Luo Tianzong's egg yolks have to be shaken away. Chen Daoxuan smiled slightly. He was not interested in taking action personally. If possible, it would be best not to step outside the scope of the Heavenly Dao Palace until he is sure that he has become the strongest person in this world. Only the truth is the truth. Besides, the Luo Tian sect only has a leader in the Annihilation realm. Does such a low-end game require his peerless power from the 8th layer heaven in the Qi condensation realm to personally take action? No need at all. Disciple understands. Master, do you have any other instructions? If not, this disciple will go down the mountain to Luotian sect. Lang Yanran couldn't help but her eyes turned cold after hearing the master's words. Now that the master has spoken, not even an ant in Luo Tianzong can survive. There should be nothing else to pay attention to. Ensure your own safety and go back early. After Chen Daoxuan touched his chin and thought for a moment, he just told him to pay attention to safety. Then he stood up, stretched out, and lay down on the wicker chair made of tea trees. Disciple, resign. Lang Yanran bowed down, put the jade pendant and array plate on the stone table into her storage bag, turned around and headed down the mountain. Luo Tianzong, in the meeting hall. Luo Wu perfected being was sitting high in the chair. Although today was half a month old, he didn't feel nervous at all. At this time, in the main hall, in addition to the remaining 7 elders of their Luotian sect, there was one more person. And the aura exuding from that man's body is no worse than Luo Wu's perfected being. He is also a strong man in the 5th layer of nirvana. In the Northern Territory, the number of powerful people in the Annihilation realm can be counted on one hand. With their 5th layer realm, they can only be counted by the masters of the other 3 top sects. Brother Yangchun, today is the day that people in the mysterious Nirvana realm say they will destroy our Luo Tian sect. If necessary later, please ask Brother Yangchun to help. Luo Wu perfected being looked at the man and said with a smile on his face. That Yangchun perfected being was the sect master of the Golden Cauldron sect, and his realm was on par with him. Haha, this is natural. You and I are both from the Northern Territory. Now that an ignorant master of the mysterious Nirvana realm suddenly appears, my sect master will naturally not let him be so rampant in the Northern Territory. Perhaps, the news about the destruction of Luotian sect in the past half-month is because that guy is planning to delay time and escape from the Northern Territory. It is not necessarily done on purpose. At this time, that guy may have escaped to an unknown location. But, Brother Luo Wu, don't forget the promise you made to me. Yangchun perfected being also laughed, and even felt in his heart that Luo Wu perfected being was too timid. He was so frightened by someone's words that he closed the mountain gate for half a month. It really embarrasses the 4 major sects in the Northern Territory. Of course I won't forget that when I, the Luo Tian sect, participate in the secret realm this time, I would like to be regarded as an affiliated team of the Golden Cauldron sect and only take 50% of the resources. After Luo Wu finished speaking, he could only sigh in his heart. If their Luo Tian sect's chief disciple hadn't died suddenly, he wouldn't have made such a move. It was a lie that Yangchun perfected being was invited to help deal with foreign enemies this time, but in fact he was doing it so that the Luotian sect disciples could have someone to rely on when they participated in the secret realm. If it belongs to other sect-affiliated teams, although the harvest will be reduced by half, it is still better than nothing. However, after this battle, I am afraid that in the next 200 years, the strength of the Golden Cauldron sect will be far beyond theirs. It's already noon, and the mysterious man didn't show up. I think he found out about the strength of our Luo Tian sect and escaped. Brother Yangchun, you can't come here in vain. Try the delicious wine I brewed with more than 10 kinds of spiritual fruits some time ago. After sitting and waiting for another 2 hours, still no one came to the door. Luo Wu couldn't help but agree with Yangchun's words. The stone fell in his heart, and he asked for wine and food to entertain him. At the same time, he has already planned in his heart to send people to the Moro Kingdom after today to completely destroy the Leng family and shake up the Luotian sect's reputation. Numerous disciples in the Luo Tian sect, who were originally a little nervous, relaxed completely after seeing the sect leader and Yangchun perfected being drinking and talking. TCH, I really am not afraid of death and would come against my Luo Tianzong today. I didn't expect it was just a bluff. That is, our Luotian sect's sect protecting formation alone cannot be broken through by the ordinary Nirvana realm. I think that person is also afraid. Hey, boring, I thought I could see the sect master take action. Since I started practicing, I have never seen a strong person in the Nirvana realm fight. Within the Luotian sect, many disciples were talking about it, without any worries that the sect was about to be exterminated. Outside the Luotian sect, on many mountaintops, the monks who planned to watch the battles of the strong men in the Nirvana realm and seek enlightenment and breakthroughs were also a little anxious. Among them, there are many people who want to join in the fun, and some even think that if there is a 1 in 10,000 chance that the Luo Tian sect is destroyed, they can still pick up some skills, magic weapons, etc. Tisk. It seems that the mysterious strong man will probably not come today. It will be dark in a while. If that person really had the strength to destroy Luo Tianzong, he would have taken action long ago. He is probably afraid. Hey, it's a pity that this trip was in vain. If I had known that I would have this time, I might as well have killed 2 monsters. Many monks who joined in the fun also felt that the mysterious man would not appear again, and some even started to pack their things and plan to leave. Did that gentleman really leave the Northern Territory with Yanran? On the top of a mountain, the uneasy Cold War couldn't help but feel a little anxious. If Luo Tianzong is not destroyed today, then the Lang family will definitely cease to exist tomorrow. But at this moment, a figure with a hot figure rushed towards the mountain peak where Luo Tianzong was located at an extremely fast speed, relying on the cover of the mountains and forests. After Lang Yanran left Zuwu Mountain, she didn't even return to Moro Kingdom, but hurriedly headed towards Luo Tianzong. Thinking of her master's instructions not to leave anyone alive, she did not show up immediately. Instead, she put on a black robe and a hat to wrap herself tightly, fearing that someone would discover her in advance. Since she was unsure of the scope of the limiting formation given by her master, Lang Yanran decided to be on the safe side and wait until she reached the foot of the mountain where Luo Tianzong was located before using it. Otherwise, if she makes a mistake in judgment and something goes wrong and the Luo Tianzong people run away, she will be too embarrassed to go back to the mountain to see her master. Fortunately, she didn't encounter any accidents along the way. By the time she arrived at the foot of Luo Tianzong mountain, it was already approaching evening and the sun had begun to set. Stop, who is it? Leave quickly, I, Luo Tianzong, will not accept visits today. As soon as she arrived at the foot of Luo Tianzong mountain, Lang Yanran was stopped by two figures. After a brief glance, I found that there were only two disciples of the Sky Control Realm. Without a trace of hesitation, Lang Yanran directly grabbed the two people's necks with one hand and lifted them up like little chickens. Take a deep breath. It's normal to feel a little dizzy for the first time. Recalling the scene when she first met Master, Lang Yanran couldn't help but imitate Master's words and whispered in their ears. When these words fell into the ears of the two of them, they were like devils. After struggling hard, as expected, the two of them lost their breath. After easily dealing with the two of them, Lang Yanran patted the storage bag on her waist and took out two array discs. Gently send a ray of spiritual energy into it to activate the large formation already carved on the formation disc. According to her master's instructions, the first formation disc she activated was to restrict the formation to prevent people from the Luo Tian sect from escaping. Buzz, as the array disc made a soft sound, an invisible barrier rapidly expanded. In a moment, it covered a radius of 5 miles, 10 miles, 100 miles. In the end, the circular barrier stopped expanding after expanding to a radius of 500 miles, and solidified into substance. Although it was transparent, it was extremely tough. This range is a bit too big, isn't it? Lang Yanran was a little confused when she saw this. Fortunately, she carefully ran to the gate of Luoshanzong Mountain before activating the restriction formation. If we had known such a large scope, why would we have wasted such effort? Without any time to think, Lang Yanran quickly sent a stream of spiritual energy towards the second formation disc and activated the defensive formation. The current commotion will definitely alarm the people of Luo Tianzong, so they must not be careless. As Lang Yanran activated the defensive array, another circular barrier appeared, but this time it did not expand endlessly. It only covered a distance of 10 meters around her and stopped expanding. Lang Yanran tried walking around and found that as long as she had this formation plate on her body, the formation would follow her, and 10 meters was enough. Dangji rose into the air with a defensive formation and headed towards the mountain gate of Luoshan sect. Such a big movement naturally attracted the attention of Luo Tianzong, including all nearby independent cultivators. What's going on? What is this? What happened? Pindao always feels a little uneasy, as if there is some danger. It's too busy for me. Fellow Taoists, I'll see you again by chance and say goodbye. What the hell is this thing? Why can't it get out? Many of the timid independent cultivators planned to leave temporarily after noticing something strange. But as everyone left in various directions, they found that no matter which direction, there was an invisible barrier blocking the way. Even above the sky and even below the ground, there are barriers and there is no way out. The larger the scope of the barrier, the more fragile it is. This barrier is so large, I don't think it will be particularly difficult to break it. Fellow Taoists, let's work together to defeat this ghost thing, and first escape from here. Okay, let's take action together. Everyone looked at each other and saw the uneasiness in each other's eyes. After one person suggested joining forces, everyone agreed. For a time, dozens of monks joined forces, including Yukong and Universal Truth at low levels, and even a few Guishu realm experts at high levels. Boom! As everyone's attacks gathered together, they hit one part of the barrier. The result left them dumbfounded. Not even a crack has been opened. Are you kidding? With so many people attacking together, even the 9th layer in the ruins realm will be blown to pieces. This barrier hasn't even been shaken at all. For a moment, all the monks who wanted to join in the fun felt panic in their hearts. After several more attempts, everyone gave up and could only choose an area on the edge of the barrier farthest from Luo Tianzong, intending to wait and see what would happen. This time is obviously aimed at Luo Tianzong. If Luo Tianzong can solve the person who put up the barrier, the problem will naturally disappear. Among Luo Tianzong at this time, although Luo Wu Perfected Being and Yang Chun Perfected Being had been drinking all afternoon, they did not drink too much. Now seeing the sudden strangeness, the two looked at each other. Everyone in the hall stood up and walked out of the hall together to Luo Tianzong Square. I didn't expect that guy would actually dare to come to my door. If I am defeated later, Brother Lao Yangchun will come to my aid. Luo Wu Perfected Being squinted at the barrier above the sky, feeling a little uneasy in his heart. That person who set up a barrier to isolate the formation must have great confidence in order to prevent his Luo Tian sect members from escaping. For a moment, he was really unsure of the opponent's strength. It's natural. Yangchun Perfected Being also looked more serious, and felt that the other party was a little too confident in his actions. Soon, Lang Yanren's figure appeared above Luo Tianzong, and everyone in the square finally saw her presence. Are you the Nirvana master behind Lang Yanren? Luo Wu Perfected Being squinted his eyes and looked intently, only to find that there was a barrier similar to a defensive formation around the opponent's body, which even had the effect of isolating the breath, making him unable to figure out the opponent's realm. Coupled with the fact that Lang Yanren was wearing a black robe and did not show up, Luo Wu naturally had a misunderstanding. On the square, many disciples and elders of Luotian sect were also staring closely at the black-robed figure, feeling inexplicably nervous. At the same time, everyone was even more confused. When did the other party set up such a large isolation formation? Could it be that in the past half-month, the opponent has already quietly sneaked into the vicinity and set up a formation in advance? What a deep scheming, what a deep calculation, actually planning half a month in advance. And they actually didn't notice it until the other party activated the formation. Terrible. No one could have imagined that the isolation formation with a range of 500 miles actually came from a portable formation disk. I'm afraid no one would believe such a horrifying thing even if I told everyone directly. Unless you see it with your own eyes, who can believe that such a formation that isolates the world for 500 miles does not need to be prepared in advance, but comes from a portable formation disk? Even Lang Yanren herself was shocked by the terrifying effect after activating the formation disk. But thinking that the master is a fairy-like existence, I accepted this fact in my heart. Lang Yanren did not take Luowu's Perfected Being words seriously, but was thinking about how to bomb in order to end the battle as quickly as possible. But Luo Wu Perfected Being below saw this and frowned. Humph, it turns out he's just a rat who doesn't dare to show his face. Don't think that this sect leader doesn't know that you saved Lang Yanren because you were interested in her physique and wanted to cultivate her into a good furnace. It's just that you didn't hesitate to come here today to make an enemy of our Luo Tian sect. Don't you think the price you have to pay is a bit high? Luo Wu Perfected Being continued to speak, and even used his spiritual power to deliberately spread his voice so that the nearby monks who were watching could hear clearly. Since the other party didn't want Luo Tianzong to feel comfortable, then why should he be merciful? He immediately wanted to reveal the other party's true face and reveal his purpose. It would be best if Lang Yanren could hear the news. When Lang Yanren learns the truth, she may not let this mysterious man control her. Big news, that Lang Yanren actually has a special physique that is very suitable for being a furnace. No wonder this mysterious man doesn't hesitate to become an enemy of Luo Tianzong, but also wants to protect the Lang family and Lang Yanren. It doesn't seem like a good person. When the monks onlookers heard the news, they also had expressions of sudden realization. Originally, in their opinion, this mysterious man might have been attracted by Lang Yanren's beauty, so he wanted to become an enemy of Luo Tianzong, but it was inevitable that he was a little too irrational. But now that everyone knows this breaking news, everyone understands. There are some special physiques in the world. If it can be used as a furnace for dual cultivation, it will be of great benefit to even powerful monks in the Nirvana realm or even higher realms. For the sake of cultivation, what can't you do? It's just that he is an enemy of Luo Tianzong. This mysterious man is too irrational. As Luo Wu finished speaking, the mysterious man in black robes trembled uncontrollably because of his anger. Haha, your true identity was revealed by this sect leader. Are you angry? Did you know that our Luo Tian sect protecting formation cannot be broken even by the 9th layer? It's ridiculous that you still want to destroy our Luo Tian sect. Elders, activate the sect protecting formation. I, the sect leader, will first go and meet this guy who dares not show his face. Luo Wu perfected being confidently issued orders to many elders, and he flew out of the sect formation alone. He is still very confident in his own strength. Over the years, no one in the Northern Territory can make him feel afraid, and neither can the mysterious person in front of him. Furthermore, according to the information from the second elder, this person is just a 3rd layer of Nirvana realm, and is not his opponent at all. Even if he has the strength of the 8th layer heaven or even the 9th layer heaven in the Nirvana realm, he can still retreat to the protective sect formation in time, advance, attack, retreat and defend. He is already in an invincible position. It's strange that this mysterious man actually dared to come to our door and seek death. How dare you slander my master? You, Lang Yanren clenched her fists, and for the first time, such a strong murderous intent appeared in her beautiful eyes. While speaking, she had already taken off her hat and looked at Luo Wu perfected being who flew out from Luo Tianzong with a cold face. Lang Yanren was still a little surprised when she learned that she had a special physique that could be used as a furnace. But that wasn't what made her so angry. There is only one reason why she can gnash her teeth in anger and tremble slightly uncontrollably. This Luo Wu perfected being actually dares to slander the master. It is simply a crime worthy of death. Lang Yanren. Why is this mysterious person Lang Yanren? Wasn't it the strong man behind her who came in person? But as Lang Yanren took off the long hat that covered her face, everyone was dumbfounded. The mysterious person who everyone is nervous and afraid of is actually not the legendary mysterious and powerful person in the Nirvana realm, but Lang Yanren. No matter how strong she is nothing more than the universal truth realm. How dare she come to Luotian sect alone? Tisk, so you were sent to act like a ghost to attract attention. Where is the mysterious man behind you? Where is he hiding now? What's his trick? That's all, I guess I can't get anything out of you. But this sect leader doesn't believe that the mysterious man would watch you fall without taking action. Luo Wu perfected being also didn't expect that under the black robe was Lang Yanren, and was slightly stunned for a moment. But he soon sneered. No matter what, it would be impossible for the mysterious man to watch Lang Yanren die, otherwise wouldn't he be making a futile effort? Although Lang Yanren was surrounded by a barrier that looked like a defensive formation, Luo Wu perfected being didn't care. This kind of portable formation, whether it is carved in the magic weapon or contained in the formation plate, is probably just a yellow-level formation. Its main function is to conceal its aura, so that they cannot see its true realm, so confuse everyone. And he is a powerful person in the Nirvana realm, he can break it with just one blow. Die, if you see that good-for-nothing Zhang Tian's on the road to hell, remember to tell him that I was really blind to train him to be the chief. Luo Tian's big hand seal. Luo Wu perfected being had a sarcastic look on his face, and with a wave of his hand, he used the high-grade divine ability of their Luo Tian sect. At the same time, he was still secretly on guard against the sudden appearance of the mysterious strong man for a sneak attack. If used by him in the Nirvana realm, it would be much stronger than the 3 elders of the Guishu realm in the Moro kingdom. A palm print that covered the sky appeared, exuding a terrifying pressure that made many monks hundreds of miles away feel their scalps numb and couldn't help but want to escape. Even a mountain peak can only be turned into rubble under this palm. Terrible. Is this the great power of the Nirvana realm? 100 miles away, even a poor man can feel the terrifying pressure contained in that palm print. Hey, this Lang Yanren is dead. Even if the mysterious strong man takes action now, it will be too late to save her. It's just a pity that this picture makes people excited just by looking at it. The monks who were watching felt a pang of regret in their hearts. Many of them were even monks who had been moved by Lang Yanren's beauty. They couldn't bear to see such a beauty disappear, so they turned away sadly. Lang Yanren faced the terrifying Luo Tian's big handprint, but stood motionless and looked at Luo Tian's perfect being with cold eyes. It was as if he was frightened by the terrifying pressure and lost the ability to escape. Many monks who were watching couldn't help but sigh when they saw this scene. Lang Yanren's end was already doomed. Even ordinary Nirvana realm experts would not dare to resist this palm, let alone a mere universal truth realm Lang Yanren. I'm afraid it will be shot into pieces later, and even the complete body will not be found. The power of the sect leader. A mere universal truth realm dares to attack our Luo Tian sect. We don't know whether to live or die. Being able to see the sect master using the sect's divine ability with my own eyes is a life worth living. Many disciples of Luo Tianzong also suddenly had their eyes lit up, as if they had seen the scene of the sect leader's victory. There are even many disciples who have gained some insights from the divine ability performed by Luo Wu's perfected being himself, and their hearts are even more excited. After today, they will practice in seclusion for a period of time, and then they will be able to take a step further in their cultivation. Not only the disciples, but also many elders were also staring closely at the Luotian Grand Mudra performed by the sect leader. Even those who are strong in the Return to Ruins realm, after watching the sect master personally take action, can't help but feel a little bit in their hearts. This kind of opportunity is not easy to come across. After all, it is one of the 4 major sects in the Northern Territory. As the leader of the sect, Luo Wu rarely takes action, and has never even taken action in front of others in the past 10 years. Tisk, this guy's cultivation has improved a lot. But it doesn't matter. After this secret realm, our Golden Cauldron sect will completely surpass the other 3 sects and become the well-deserved #1 sect in the Northern Territory. After Yangchun perfected being saw the power of that move, he couldn't help but squint his eyes slightly and felt a sense of crisis. This move of Luo Wu's perfected being, even if he were to deal with it, he would never be able to resist it forcefully. As for Lang Yanren of Universal Truth Realm, she will definitely die in the end. At the same time, Yangchun perfected being spreads its spiritual consciousness as much as possible, and is always on guard against mysterious strong men who may take action. Luo Tian's big handprint finally landed on Lang Yanren's body. No, to be precise, it was on the barrier in front of Lang Yanren. No one had the slightest illusion about the barrier, feeling that it could not be blocked even for a moment. Boom. Buzz. First there was a loud noise, which shocked many disciples in the Luotian sect square and couldn't help but cover their ears. The terrifying aftermath almost shattered their eardrums. But just when everyone looked intently to see how miserable Lang Yanren's death would be, they were all dumbfounded. Everyone's eyes widened, and they could fit an ostrich egg in their mouths. This is impossible. I must be dreaming. Yes, I must be dreaming. Why is that Lang Yanren not injured at all? I saw Lang Yanren still looking at Luo Wu perfected being with an indifferent expression, and the barrier in front of her, the moment it touched Luo Tian's handprint, lit up countless golden inscriptions, absorbing all the power of that blow completely offset and dispersed. This scene is obviously something that no one can understand. Not only many independent cultivator and Luo Tianzong disciples and even elders could not understand, even Luo Wu perfected being himself was a little dumbfounded. His palm was a full blow without any hesitation. How terrifying the power is, he knows better than anyone else. But it was completely absorbed by that barrier. No, this is not a formation, this is a defensive magic weapon above the heaven level. I didn't expect that the person behind you would be willing to hand over the extremely precious heaven-level defensive magic weapon to you. But the spiritual power required to activate the magic weapon is not something that your universal truth realm can support. Hehe, as long as I kill you, this magic weapon will belong to my sect master. Luo Wu perfected being was stunned for a moment, thinking about countless possibilities in his mind, and finally his eyes lit up and he figured it all out. There is only one possibility that can have such an effect, and that is a heaven-level magic weapon. Apart from that, he couldn't think of any other possible existence. But if you want to activate the heaven-level magic weapon, the spiritual power you need to consume is extremely huge. Lang Yanren, a monk from the Universal Truth Realm, might not be able to activate it a few times. As long as he attacks a few more times, his spiritual power will be exhausted, and then the magic weapon will be his. When he thought of this, Luo Wu perfected being couldn't help but reveal a sinister smile. Originally, I thought that without their chief disciple and no chance to compete for the resources in the secret realm, their Luo Tian sect would fall behind by 200 years. But if you can get a heaven-level magic weapon, it will be completely different. When the time comes, with the help of heaven-level magic weapons, he can still make Luotian sect become the #1 sect in the Northern Territory, and he himself will also become the most powerful person in the Northern Territory. Speaking of all this, I have to thank that mysterious man for being so generous. Hiss. I see. I didn't expect that Leng Yanren actually possesses a heaven-level magic weapon. It seems that in our northern region, there has never been such a precious thing as a heaven-level magic weapon. Even the 4 major sects can only produce earth-level magic weapons at most. Today is an eye-opener. After hearing Luo Wu's perfected being words, everyone suddenly showed a look of enlightenment. But when this scene fell into Leng Yanren's eyes, she felt as if she was looking at a group of fools with missing brain stems. If they knew that the extremely precious heaven-level magic weapon they talked about was just a portable defense array made by the master at random, I don't know what they would think. But none of this matters anymore, because after today, these people will never have the chance to be stupid or surprised again. Seeing that Luo Wu had a confident expression on his face and wanted to continue taking action, Leng Yanren also made a move. Leng Yanren tapped the storage bag on her waist, and a jade pendant appeared in her hand. Haha, do you want to store the jade slips of divine ability? She actually wants to use such things to go against Luo Tianzong. I really don't know whether to praise her for being cute or call her stupid. Everyone burst into laughter when they saw this scene. But there was only one person whose eyes suddenly became excited. Cold War had seen with his own eyes what terrifying power the jade pendant held by Leng Yanren could exert. But then, Cold War's face froze in place again. Even though the blow was extremely powerful, a sect as big as Luotian sect still had a large formation to protect the sect. I'm afraid, it can't be solved with just a jade pendant, right? Don't worry, I won't kill you first. I want you to watch the entire Luotian sect collapse before your eyes, and leave you as the last one to accompany them. You are spreading rumors about Master. You are a disgusting ant that ruins Master's reputation. Leng Yanren held the jade pendant in her hand and glanced coldly at Luo Wu perfected being. Seeing that he was a little wary, she simply told him openly that this attack would not be carried out on him. He gently raised his wrist and threw the jade pendant in the direction of Luotian sect's sect protecting formation. Buzz. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.